one of those tweets that's got absolutely everything in it, that's got like everything that you can expect to see on this week's show. We haven't had one of those this week, so that's a little bit strange. Normally they're pretty good at getting them out like hours in advance, unless Tony, in all fairness, I did not check Tony's Twitter account. Let me go over there. Let's probably put it over there. I was on the AEW Twitter account about half an hour ago, and I couldn't see anything. But maybe he put it on his own. There's lots of tweets from a few days ago, but actually no tweets for the past few days from Tony Khan, by the looks of it. Nothing for the past 4 days from Tony Khan, so no tweets there. We know that we've got the Battle Royal. The winner of the Battle Royal will face Jon Moxley, I believe, later in the show. The winner of that will then go to Forbidden Door to take on either Tanahashi or Goto. So we know that's the plan for the interim title. We were talking last week about how complicated this is. Overly complicated, in my opinion. I don't think they needed to make it this I don't know why New Japan stars are even competing for the AEW interim title. What has New Japan got to do with the AEW interim title? Nothing. Like, I know that we've got Forbidden Door that's coming up, but are you telling me there was no way of having a match on there that was just 2 AEW stars? And we could have had a match that was 2 New Japan stars as well. You know, that would have been a great way of, like, getting AEW fans to watch a 100% New Japan match. Because, obviously, this is going to be AEW versus New Japan. So, it's going to be largely what you would expect from New Japan. It's going to be largely what you would expect to see in AEW. But they could have put on a New Japan versus New Japan star match, like a showcase thing for us. And that could have been quite interesting. A nice way to maybe introduce people to New Japan and the New Japan style. And then, obviously, the AEW match could have been AEW versus AEW. And I think that would have made, for me personally, a lot more sense. I'm really struggling as to what has Tanahashi and Goto done to deserve a chance at the AEW interim title. It feels like they're only involved because this next pay-per-view is Forbidden Door. So, yeah, I'm not keen on that. That bit I'm not keen on. I don't mind the Battle Royal. The Moxley thing's a bit strange. We can obviously talk for quite a bit as to who the person should be that should get that title now that CM Punk is having to, step away for a while. We don't know when CM Punk's back, but it's expected to be maybe a couple of months or so, maybe a bit longer. So that's why it's an interim, because it's not going to be that he's gone for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. It's going to be relatively, short, but long enough whereby we do need an interim champion. So, yeah, no word as to who's in that Battle Royal, but we know the winner faces Moxley. The winner of that match then faces either Tanahashi or Goto at Forbidden Door. We've also got Buddy Murphy will go one-on-one with Pac, and we also know that Thunder Rosa is going to go one-on-one with Marina Shafir. That's who it is. In my head, it had the word Problem, but that's her nickname. She's known as the Problem, Marina Shafir. So, yes, we've got that match as well. So, obviously, that's just, a way of getting Thunder onto the show. Pac against Buddy Matthews, formerly known as Buddy Murphy. But I don't actually know who's in the Battle Royal yet. Haven't seen any news on that. In regards to MJF, I really don't know if we'll see him this week. Obviously, they're telling the story that MJF is rebelling, wants to be fired. Could he pop up at some point in the show and demand again that Tony fires him? Could he sabotage, the Battle Royal? Could he jump into the Battle Royal late, win it? Could he then go on to face Moxley? Or I don't know if maybe they'll keep him away from that story, to be honest. But I could see him potentially trying to cause disruption somehow as he continues to try and find a way out of his contract. Either that or because the focus this week is on who is going to go forward to challenge for the title. Maybe they'll just keep him away, and the focus will be on this story, because it's a pretty big one, isn't it? Who is going to challenge for the interim title? So maybe the focus is going to be all on that, and then the rest of the show is going to be, Buddy Matthews against Pac. It's going to be Thunder Rosa, or it's going to be like a Powerhouse Hobbs or a Ricky Starks, and then the main event will be that match against Moxley, as we said. So it's interesting. There's lots to talk about, lots to get our teeth into, but no idea if we see MJF tonight or not. It might be, as I said, they want to focus on this instead. Hello to everyone that's in the chat. Gerard said CM Punk is going to return at All Out in Chicago on September 4th. So September 4th would be about, just under 3 months. So is that when it's scheduled? So about 3 months then. So it's kind of, it's really weird, isn't it? It's not like so long whereby, because a lot of people have said, why not just strip him of the title? Why is this an interim title? But I kind of feel like I don't mind it. I don't mind them doing this, because I think they've identified the person that they want as champion, and that person is CM Punk. Now, CM Punk has not been defeated for the belt. It's not like he's going away for a long, long time. I said before, if he was going to go away and not come back for like 12 months or something, then I think you probably would take the belt off him. But I think if he's only going away for 3 months, chances are he should still be within that time period. He should still be the person. He should still be the top guy in 3 months' time. In 12 months' time, well, you can't say. Who knows? There's people that develop all the time, come through. Where will Wardlow be in 12 months? People will have come into the company. People will have left the company. It'll be a slightly different company, because there will be undoubtedly personnel changes over the next 12 months with wrestlers coming and going. Probably more coming than going, I would imagine. But some of those contracts are obviously expiring. So, all of a sudden then, does CM Punk represent? Is he the best of that company in 12 months' time? Maybe not. And so for me, that's why I'd be like, I understand why you would take the belt off him, because he's not going to be able to defend it throughout that time. When he comes back, it's going to be a different company. But I think now, 3 months down the road, a few things might have changed, but by and large, it'll probably be very similar to where we are now. So I think CM Punk can come back and stands a good chance of still being the guy that they want as the champion, and still being the best in the roster. And so I think whilst that's still true, I think, crown an interim champion that can just carry a title of sorts until CM Punk returns in, as we said, 3 months' time or so. And then, you've got a big match there. CM Punk returning, taking on the interim champion versus champion, to crown the one true AEW World Champion. So I don't mind any of that, actually. I saw a few people that had issues with that, but I'm all right with that bit. I don't mind that bit. So, I'm looking forward to seeing, what the story is tonight, and who wins the Battle Royale, and, who is going to win out of that person and Moxley, which I think is probably the main event tonight, as we said. But I'll keep an eye on if any other news comes through, because we do normally have that tweet. That's got, like, everything on it that we can expect to see, but we just haven't had anything yet. Did you hear that Dana White was working on trying to make the Stipe Jon Jones fight happen? Yes. It was on a board behind him, I believe, a few months back. They did an interview with Dana, and in the background there was like loads of future cards, and that was a fight that was on it. But I don't think it had been booked, but it was definitely a fight that was being worked on. So, I think he got asked a really interesting question in an interview. They asked him, they were like, if you could make one fight this year, what would it be? And he said that he'd want it to be a Jon Jones fight, but he didn't really have an opponent. But then obviously it came out. They did this interview, and there was a board in the background, and you could clearly see like the next big cards that they were working on, and that was the fight that was on it. So it'd be very juicy. I'd be very much looking forward to seeing it if they can get it over the line. Jordan James, shout out to you. I hope you are well. Says, hope we get a modified belt for the interim. Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about UFC. They don't. To my knowledge, there's nothing on a interim title. Like, it doesn't say interim. There's nothing different. So I don't know that AEW would do that. But obviously, pro wrestling is different to MMA. So, and Tony Khan can do whatever he wants. So I kind of feel like maybe like where it's like gold, maybe that it should be silver for the interim, something like that. So maybe the same looking belt, but just slightly different. Maybe not quite as glamorous. Maybe, as I said, where it's got gold, you'd go silver. Maybe where there's silver, you go bronze. You just knock it all down a level or something like that. And, it's quite clearly the same belt, but it's not quite as prestigious. And obviously they should get an opportunity to fight for the belt when CM Punk returns in a few months' time. So, yeah, that could be kind of interesting. See if they do come up with something else. Maybe they'll go with maybe it'll have interim written on it. Who knows? But in MMA, they don't do anything. Lance said, what's up, love the stream. If Punk is out 3 months, how do you think they'll keep the title on him after his return, or is it too hard to say? I think it's a bit tricky to say because, like, we don't know the landscape, and that just nicely takes me back to my point I just made. I think that if he was to be out of the game for 12 months, from me, when he comes back, I mean, you would think it's going to take him a little bit of time to get back up and running after 12 months out. It's not going to be, he's going to be able to hit the ground running. And also, what does the company actually look like when he returns? So, to say that he is the champion of a company that has changed over 12 months, because it would. If you go back and look at the company 12 months ago, you'll see that, there's been people that have come in, there's been people that have obviously left within that 12 months period, and I think we can agree it will do that again over the next 12 months. So for me, he wouldn't represent the company anymore, but I think after 3 months he will. After 3 months, I think that he'll still be able to claim to be the champion of this company, even in 3 months' time, because I don't think it will have changed that much. But to say, like, how are they going to book him? No idea. I mean, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, maybe they might give him, like, the odd non-title match just to, like, get him back up to speed a little bit. But my guess is that his return match probably isn't going to be on a Dynamite. Maybe they'll make a big deal out of his return. Although saying that, they are always fighting for ratings. To think that his return match will be All Out and they'll just throw him into that. Like, they could do that. But maybe, on the go home or a couple of weeks before the go home, they'll see if they can get him, like, a warm-up match, non-title match, just to try and, get him back into the groove again. 3 months, I mean, it's not too bad, is it? He was out of the ring for, 7 years? So, he's obviously just been through a period of getting rid of some ring rust. So I don't think this will be too bad. Maybe the odd match, and maybe you can even have those matches, away from cameras. So out back or something, in the training facility or something, go through the motions. So it's really hard to say. I think if I was Tony Khan, I would want to talk to him. I think I'd want to talk to him and I'd be like, what do you need? You tell me what you need. Do you need a few non-title matches before you go into a title match? Do you want to do those on Dynamite, Rampage, Dark Elevation? I don't care. Like, where do you want to do those? Or do you want to just go straight into a title match? I mean, I feel, depending on how he recovers, I feel pretty good that he'll retain that title. I feel pretty good that, they clearly wanted to use him as the face and the guy. Well, that can't have changed. I can't imagine now that's changed. I think the only thing that would change is if someone really catches fire whilst he's away, but I don't think that'll happen. And, or if it's a case that his injury is so bad, it's going to take him a while to get back up and running again. And if that's the case, they might look at it and think, well, okay, he's had 3 months out. It's going to take him another 2 months just to get back up to speed. Let's just go with this other guy, whoever it might be. So without those conversations, it'd be really, really difficult to know what they're going to do when he comes back. But for me, if I was Tony Khan, it would all be based on conversations with him. I just want to sit down with CM Punk. And my message to CM Punk would be, you was the guy I wanted before, right? And you're the guy I want now. So you tell me, where do we go from here? Like, do you need warm-up matches? Do you want to go straight into a title match? Do you feel rusty? Do you want to carry the title at the moment? Do you want us to revisit this title reign further down the line? Or do you want to carry on with it now? Do you think it's more beneficial if you work a slightly reduced schedule because of your injury? Like, you tell me, where are we? And I think without that information, it'd be difficult to know what they're going to do. Wrestle with Andy. Hello. I did wrestle with Andy, say. I'm rooting for Big John Studd tonight in the Battle Royal. Legend. Talking of legends, I know this is complete curveball, but oh my god, I'm so excited because there's a new line of figures coming out which I didn't see and I haven't heard of. It's called Power Town, and apparently it's the guy that used to make the AWA figures from like the 1980s. He has joined up with Greg Gagne, who is the son of Vern Gagne, who owned the AWA, and the AWA was like the WWF rival back in the 1980s. And then in the 90s, it was WCW, and, then it was TNA, and now it's AEW. WWE, WWF has always had rivals. And AWA was one of those in the 80s, and they had their own figures, and they had some great stars. I mean, so much talent came out of the AWA. So much talent, like Bobby the Brain, Mean Gene Okerlund. I think, did Mr. Perfect come out of there? And Sergeant Slaughter, Shawn Michaels. So much came out of the AWA. Well, they've got together now, and they're doing new figures, right? And they're doing some amazing figures. They're doing Lou Thez, who's like one of the greatest wrestlers. Like, I've been asked many, many times who would be on my Mount Rushmore, and I always throw out names like maybe Edge Strangler Lewis, Lou Thez definitely, Ric Flair would be in the conversation. Like, those are the kind of names that kind of go around in my mind as to who I would put on my Mount Rushmore of, like, professional wrestling. And they're really targeting, like, that kind of, well, maybe not that far back, but they're doing Vern Gagne. They're doing Ted DiBiase, but before he was the $1 Million Man. So going right the way back with Ted DiBiase. They're doing Stan Hansen, Lou Thez, and the Lou Thez is amazing. I actually tweeted it out. I don't know how much these figures are going to be, and apparently they're looking to get them out end of the year, but no guarantees that they'll make it by the end of the year. So it might be more January, but that's the Lou Thez. And it looks so good as well. Like, it looks really, really good. And it's got his belt as well. He is one of the longest reigning NWA champions in the history of professional wrestling. Like, Lou Thez is the man. He went all around the world. I was actually reading an article about him earlier. He came over to the UK and wrestled at Royal Albert Hall in front of the Queen. And, he went to Japan and he did loads of stuff. So really, that robe looks great as well. And the belt in the background looks really nice. It's a really great looking figure. No idea how much that's going to cost. I'm a little bit worried about what the price point's going to be because, I look at that and I'm like, if it's 40 to 50, then I would definitely get it. But if it's going to be like 70, 80, I don't think they would go that high. But you know what it's like. You see these things sometimes and they're beautiful and you go, oh, that looks amazing. And he's such an icon. But I mean, that could be like £100 or something. I ain't got a clue. They can't be making that many, can they? I mean, how many people are out there screaming for a Lou Thez figure? I mean, I am. But, yeah. And you'll never get that from Mattel because I don't know if he ever wrestled in the WWF or like Capital back in Capital. It probably would have been Capital. It wouldn't have been WWF. It would have been the WWF. And it would have been Capital Wrestling, but I don't know if he ever did. Because I think, but they were a part of the NWA, so maybe they did have him come over. I don't know. That would be really interesting. I'd like to know that. And what I did find, because this took me down a Lou Thez rabbit hole, is there is a sit-down interview from Tuesday Night Titans between Vince and Lou Thez from, the 1980s. Tuesday Night Titans was one of their weekly shows, and it was a bit of a chat show that had some matches in it. And Vince McMahon sits down and talks to Lou Thez. It's amazing. It's amazing. You're talking about one of the GOATs of professional wrestling who wasn't really ever in WWF. And there is a sit-down interview from the 1980s. It's so cool. It's really cool. So, I freaked out over all of that earlier. So, very, very excited. So, you talking about Big John Studs kind of brought that back to mind. He had a new figure as well recently, Big John Studs. He was in a Legends line, wasn't he? So, it's Legends everywhere. Tripping over Legends. It's Vamp said, I know this is an AEW stream, but I got one question. I was thinking the other day about Finn Balor joining Judgment Day. What if the plan is to destroy Judgment Day from the inside? Well, to be honest, I think if that's the plan, he's probably already achieved it. So I would say that it probably, if that's his plan, he can come out now and say, job done. Because he's kind of, by getting rid of Edge, he's already chopped the head off the snake. You've got Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. If Finn Balor now leaves this group going, haha, I've destroyed it from the inside. If he now walks away from this group, what's left? I can't imagine that they would welcome Edge. That's going to be awkward, and Edge has been attacked by Damian Priest. So, he's out, and he's been beaten up by Priest, embarrassed on television and everything. I can't see Edge returning if Balor was to walk away now. And so what have you got? You've got Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. So I sort of feel like if they are going to tell that story, I don't know. I mean, he's done it. He's done it. He's chopped the head. The head of the snake was Edge. So if he walks away now, I think he's killed. I think he's killed Judgment Day. So I don't think they'll go that way as a result. I think what they'll do is they will use it now as a vehicle for Finn Balor. And I'm really into it. I do like it with Finn Balor as the leader. I do understand, though, that it's going to be a bit of a challenge because Edge, he brought that kind of authority and he brought that legitimacy because he's a former world champion, a legend, been in the game for how long? Him at the front, and when he talks and his promos, they're so good. When he talks, you have to listen. And I kind of feel like Balor doesn't really have that. I mean, when Balor's a good talker, but I don't think he's Edge level. And also, Balor's held the world title or universal title for 24 hours, and that's it. If anything, all we've seen is just struggles for Balor. So it's very difficult to see, they're going to need to be quite vicious. They're going to need to win. They're going to need some real momentum. I don't think this is a group that can really afford to take too many losses, to be honest, because I think that they're already coming from a place of weakness. To be honest, Rhea Ripley has not won the women's title as much or held the women's title as much as what I think many of us were expecting. They've kind of really gone with Bianca over Rhea Ripley, and that's fine because Rhea Ripley's young, but she's not really coming from a place of strength. So, you've got Rhea Ripley, great potential, great prospect. You've got Damian Priest, great potential, great prospect, but what has he won? United States belt that was a horrible run that we all want to forget about, partnering Bad Bunny and getting nothing out of that as a result. Honestly, he's someone that's just floundered. So I would say he's coming from a position of relative weakness. And then you've got Finn Balor, who lost in 2019, got driven back to NXT, had to go back to NXT to try and reboot his career because they had nothing for him on the main roster. He's now come back, and, you know, he did work a program with Roman, but the top rope broke, which, you know, jeez. And then, like, you know, he's just been floundering, and he just coming from a place of weakness in my mind. He's just not been utilized correctly at all. So I really think that they're all three coming from a position of relative weakness. I just don't think this group can afford to be taking losses. I think this group has got to get momentum. They've got to look vicious. They've got to get wins. They've got to be booked correctly. No 50-50 booking. Get behind this group. This group needs to be attacking people backstage. They need to be getting wins. They need to be getting momentum. We need to see people actively concerned about this group being around. Maybe they can change the name as well. I don't know if they'll still run with Judgment Day or not, but yeah, I want to see. I thought the beatdown was very good, actually. The beatdown of Edge was vicious, and I think it's exactly what they needed to do, but that can't really be a one-time thing. They need to continue with that same level of aggression. Because as I said, if you're going to 50-50 book them, they're not coming from a position of power anyway. They're, for me, all three coming from a position of weakness. I mean, Rhea Ripley's been lost in the women's tag title division. So, yeah, I've high hopes for them. I just hope they book them right. David said, tonight's Battle Royal will be this year's annual Casino Battle Royal. That's interesting. They didn't do it, did they? So, it makes sense if they go with this being the annual Casino Battle Royal. I did say I was going to keep an eye on the AEW account just in case, but still nothing, man. I love it when they send that tweet out as well, where it's got all the information as to what you can see, but nothing, no tweet by the looks of it. Unless I've missed it and it was like sent out like ages and ages ago, but can't see anything. But either way, we know that we've got that big battle royal, and we know that the winner's going to go on to face Jon Moxley. So it's not as if we don't know what the focus of the show is going to be. Asib said, do you think AEW could do with more with the TNT title, making it the workhorse belt with fire feuds with superstars who can't make it to the top of the card yet, like Adam Cole, Miro, Samoa Joe, etc.? Yeah, I think they're sort of in a roundabout way trying to book it that way. I mean, Miro did have the TNT title, and Cody carried the TNT title. Sammy, who I don't think any of us are not expecting him to win the world title at some point. Like, he absolutely is going to be a world champion in AEW. So, as long as he stays, I think that he is another one that, has held that belt. It's not as if they're giving it to the likes of, Peter Avalon, or giving it to the likes of Serpentico. Do you know what I mean? Or, like, Fuego, or, those kind of people. They are giving it to people that I can see going on to win that title. Cody obviously couldn't because of that stipulation that prevented him. So, the most he could achieve, I suppose, was the TNT. Or get into a tag team. So it makes sense for him to carry it. Brody Lee, I don't think anyone complains about him carrying the belt. Sammy, as we said, I think is a future world champion in waiting. Scorpio Sky is very interesting, but to be honest, I do like Scorpio Sky. I mean, I do think that he is a very good wrestler in ring and decent on the mic. I think that obviously the Dan Lambert stuff is a bit, I don't know, divides opinion. But I don't mind Scorpio Sky. I feel like he fits that workhorse mentality, but can I see him going on to be AEW World Champion? Probably not. But I don't know. Maybe Tony does see something in him. But I think very much the AEW, the TNT title is very much the workhorse belt. I think it is their version of the Intercontinental. I think that the people that have carried it, the list of names is not too bad. I mean, you could give it to someone like Powerhouse Hobbs, who I think's a future world champion as well. But there's nothing to say that he won't get his hands on it at some point. So yeah, we'll have to see what they do with it. I think the booking of that is quite interesting. I think some people think it could be booked better. Some people think it's all right. I don't really have a large problem with the booking of the TNT belt. I think it's all right. Edward said, I've not had a good day. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Edward. I hope your mom gets better soon. Sorry to hear that news. James says, hello, James. Hope you are well. Whoever wins that will face Tanahashi. More injury plague company, AEW or WWE. Punk, Omega Roman, Cody, Edge, Orton. Thoughts? It's just injuries, isn't it? I mean, injuries happen all the time in wrestling. They're just part and parcel of it. I actually saw Natalya send a tweet out saying, was it Natalya or was it Matt Hardy? I think they both did, where they sent a message out saying, love the fans, but you really don't realise that we usually go into matches hurt. Like, I think this is off the back of the Cody injury. And the thing is that Cody's obviously getting a lot of praise. And I think the point that Matt was making was, that was an extreme, but pretty much every wrestler will go into matches on a very regular basis not feeling 100%. And that is true. I mean, we don't know about it because obviously we don't know what they're going through. And unless you can see it or unless it's been reported, you don't know. But it was a really interesting point. Saying we have to perform. If we was to not perform every time we had a little knock or something, then there probably wouldn't be professional wrestling. So he was kind of just making the point that quite often we have to work when we're injured. So of course, and then there was a lot of messages saying respect to the wrestlers, all that kind of stuff, and I didn't really read anything into it, but. Injuries are just part and parcel of it. So I don't know that there is a more injured company. I just think that wrestlers get injured, and they sadly always will because it's not. It's even though scripted, what they do is physically demanding, and that's why when people go around and say it's fake, that's why the wrestlers get so upset if someone was to go, "Oh, what you do is fake." And all that kind of stuff, and the fake word in general really can wind people up because the result might be scripted, but certainly what they do between the ropes and between the bells is certainly far from fake. It's very, very physically demanding, and they pick up a lot of injuries as a result. Man United Hodge says, always great to watch with you. Shout out to you, buds. Great to see so many people joining us for this Wednesday night Dynamite. And very much looking forward to seeing what twists and turns AEW have got in store for us. I mean, in all fairness, obviously, not ideal for them to lose CM Punk. But I think what it has done is, the ratings didn't actually reflect what I thought was a very good show last week. And unfortunately, they didn't break that million mark. But certainly coming out of it, because of that MJF promo, because of the CM Punk news, could they get the benefit this week? Could it be that all that buzz last week now gets people to tune in this week to see what's going to happen? This week could be the week where they actually see a bit of a bump and they get a bit of benefit. There wasn't much bump following Double or Nothing, and I can't quite explain why. But as we said, maybe that bump comes tonight instead, where, all that MJF news, everything that happened last week, the CM Punk news as well, which was quite surprising. I certainly didn't expect that until we got to the show, and I think, didn't we even start the stream, and then he sent the tweet out, and I can't remember if he sent it just before the stream or when it was, but it was certainly only that day that the news came through that he was going to address the situation. It was like, what situation? So as we said, maybe they'll get the benefit of all of that this week. Have you been following the news about Derby Takeover 2 weeks until fixtures come out? No, I haven't been following that at all. I don't know anything about it. I don't know why they get upset. I used to get upset at an early age when people said it was fake. They know what people will say when they get in the wrestling business. I think it's a respect thing. I mean, if someone says, oh, that's fake, they are clearly saying that because they don't have respect. I think whenever someone says that to me, and to be honest, it's not often, because when would anyone say that to me, to be honest? Sometimes people do jump in that aren't fans of wrestling, and they'll, type it in the chat, and I'm sure you've seen that a few times over the years. But, I've had it in the past where people have said it to me. And whenever they do say it, it always seems to come from a place of either ignorance, whereby they want to have a conversation with you about wrestling, and they don't quite know how to go about it. I mean, it'd be super easy to go, can you just explain to me, because I've never watched wrestling, but how did you get into it? What is it about it that you love? Like, what is it about it that you find so interesting? Like, that's a really interesting, and a good way of starting a conversation about wrestling. But I think some people maybe struggle with that kind of wording, and maybe they're a bit embarrassed to have that conversation. And sometimes people can start with, wrestling's fake, that, yeah. When their actual intention is, talk to me about it, convince me. I want to be convinced that it's good. I want to be convinced that it's worth checking out. Convince me. Come back with your point. Convince me that it's good. So sometimes they can say it from a place of, borderline ignorance because they've never watched it. And they're kind of doing it as a conversation starter. I've had that quite a few times, where I will then explain why, it's something that I enjoy. And by the end of the conversation, normally that person's like, I get it. Okay, I get it. And, we've normally, there's no hostilities. But then, some people just want to, be disrespectful. And, they'll say that it's fake, and they'll say it's fake just to get a rise, basically, just to wind you up. Doesn't wind me up, because I don't care. It makes no difference to me. But I think with the wrestlers, I can understand that they've given their lives to this, and they get injured, and they basically are making big sacrifices. They're on the road, they're away from their families, the demands are really physically demanding. And then, if you've got someone coming up basically saying everything you're doing is worthless, I mean, that's kind of what it is, isn't it? Oh, it's fake. I mean, what you're saying is it's fake. You might as well say it's rubbish. It's rubbish. It's fake. It's lame. It's embarrassing. Those are the same sort of intentions. That's basically what you're saying. They're not just saying, oh, it's fake. The way they say it, they're saying it, it's it's lame, it's embarrassing, all that kind of stuff. And I can understand why wrestlers that have given so much and sacrificed so much would get annoyed by that. I mean, I'm sure, you've got to catch them in a certain mood. I'm sure that most of them are used to it. And I'm sure many of you are used to it as well. I'm sure that you've all had those kinds of conversations at some point. But it's, it's really interesting because I've had it quite a few times. And I think people's intentions, as I said, are normally varied. I don't think, it's not always that people are trying to actually be douches. Sometimes people say it because they actually want the conversation, and they want to be convinced that it's all right to watch, and that it's worth their time watching, and that's just their way into the conversation, basically. So I've had that quite a few times. People still lost themselves in it. Listen to Jim Cornette and his riot stories, says Brenton. Do you know what, Brenton, actually? That's a really interesting point, what you're making there, because you're saying that, yeah, even though it's scripted and everything, even though it's fake, people still lost themselves in it. And Jim Cornette does talk a lot about going to certain places and being worried that the crowd would, try and physically attack him. There was people that, would threaten to kill you if you was a heel and all that kind of stuff. And every time I listen to him saying that, I think to myself, those people must not have known that it was scripted, though. I can't, because you're not getting that these days. I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that MJF is getting death threats and being threatened to be stabbed and all this kind of stuff. And I would imagine if he is, I'd have to think that is from either people that have got, like, and I'm not being disrespectful, I know people might think, like, oh, whatever, but, like, I'd have to think that is people that have got, like, mental health struggles. Like, they can't be, like, they can't be, like, they've got to be a sandwich short of a picnic type kind of a situation. For you to threaten someone that's, following a script, like, and doing what has been agreed backstage, to threaten them and all that, like, something's not quite right. Or you've got to be believing that it's legit. And I think back in the day, and I've never seen anyone answer this, and I'd be really interested to actually send this into Cornet as a question, because I don't know who you could ask to get this kind of an answer, but what percentage of the crowd back in the 1980s and the crowds that Cornette was playing to, does he think believed that it was real? What percentage of those crowds does he think he believed that it was real? Because I think that it was actually quite a high percentage. I actually think that a good chunk of people that were there believed what they were seeing was real. Because you have to remember, there was no internet. The dirt sheets you had to subscribe to. It's not as if you were just stumbling across Dave Meltzer, right? I mean, he had his newsletter that he would send out to people that sent him money and subscribed to him. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen it. And, the newspapers, I mean, they weren't really picking up on it. I mean, certainly over here, never saw professional wrestling in, like, the newspapers. So, well, certainly not when I was growing up. Maybe when the World of Sport was on, you might have. But when I was growing up, it wasn't. It was actually quite thrilling if ever I opened up the newspaper in the sports section and there was anything to do with pro wrestling. It was like Christmas. I mean, quite often I would always, like, most days I would read the newspaper, normally the sport bit. Very rarely, if ever, saw, like, anything to do with pro wrestling. So it does make me think, like, people might have had their doubts. But if you're a fan of it, you might have gone along and you might have gone along with your doubts. But how many people in that venue actually knew that it was? And that's a hard one to answer, isn't it? How could you ever give that answer? How could you ever give that answer? But Cornette might know, because he might have met some of the fans afterwards and maybe had a few conversations. But he's going to keep kayfabe. I mean, the wrestlers never broke kayfabe. The heels always travelled with the heels. The faces always travelled with the faces. I saw the wrestlers in Birmingham, England. They came over and did a tour. I want to say this was about 2010, 2011, around that kind of ballpark, right? 2010, 2011, something like that. Maybe even 2009. It's around that time. And there were two coaches outside of the hotel. And all the heels went onto one coach, and all the faces went onto another. Like, the heels and the faces didn't mix. And I have to think, I don't know if they still do that now, but I have to think that goes all the way back. All the way back, whereby you couldn't have the faces and the heels mixing. Because what if someone saw? What if someone saw? Why would Roman be traveling and joking with Brock Lesnar on a coach when they hate each other? Can't be having that. So even as recent as like 12 years ago, there was still little things that they were doing to make sure the fans, like, didn't see the heels and the faces together. And famously, the Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter in the 80s were driving together, and they got in big trouble, because they got pulled over by the police, and it was in all the papers that these two wrestlers that hated each other, Iron Sheik from Iran, and Sergeant Slaughter, I think it was Sergeant, or it might have been Hacksaw, but it might have been Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who was Mr. America, were both in, having matches every night, but they were traveling together, and they were pulled over by the police together, and that was massive. That was a massive story, and there was big drama. So if you think the company was going to those lengths to try and convince people that wrestling was real, it does make me think, like, how many people in that room or in those rooms believed it? And maybe we can then pinpoint the fact that the Montreal Screwjob, you can look at maybe the steroid trial, you can look at the Montreal Screwjob, you can certainly look at the birth of the internet. Maybe you can say that the decline in kayfabe and the fact that the business is no longer protected in that way has also led to the decline in people watching. Because I feel like the Attitude Era might have been the last big huzzah, if you will, of it being in like pop culture. And I don't know that we've ever got back to being in pop culture since then. I don't know. Maybe we will one day. It's very cyclical, isn't it? Pro wrestling like tends to have hot moments and then like not so hot moments. But it's very interesting, like the decline of kayfabe and how that's affected the business. And it's a really, really interesting conversation. Maybe you don't think that. I do. These are the kind of things that I love, like, thinking about. And it's why I enjoy listening to Jim Cornette, because whether you agree with his takes on modern wrestling or not, and I do agree with some of them, but I do also disagree with some of them, I really do enjoy listening to him talking about those kind of the older days and he kind of, when he gets stuck into like these kind of things. I actually saw a clip the other day of Jim Cornette where he was talking about the most important wrestling matches ever. And it was really interesting. It was really interesting. He spoke about Hackenschmidt and Gotch. He spoke about Hogan and Andrade. The one that he spoke about was Ricky Dozan. And it was a tag match. And to be honest, I've never looked for it. I know Ricky Dozan. I know his importance. But this match in particular, which I've heard about, but I could not tell you who was involved, was seen like by about 80% of Japan. Like, it was massive. It was a massive deal. Anyone that had a TV had this wrestling match on. And it's really the birth of wrestling in Japan. And I don't know if that match exists, but I was listening to that clip and I was like, I need to find that match. I need to watch that match. So I listened to him for those kinds of things. It'd be really interesting to know his thoughts on that. Matt, appreciate the support, dudes. Really appreciate the support, as always. Do you watch wrestling as a child adult or an adult child? I watch it as an adult child. I enjoy the real-life business side of it first, and then the on-screen product with its silly stories. Wow, I'm trying to figure out what you mean by child, adult, child. I mean, so you're saying, like, you enjoy the real-life business side of it. I think I enjoy that as well. You know, I enjoy, you know, obviously there was a big debate as to whether Sasha and Naomi were right or not to walk out, and that was a big topic of conversation. And, you know, I shared my opinion on that. Obviously, there's been people that have been fired, and, you know, I've shared my opinion on how wrong WWE were to release people from their contracts for budget cuts. And, like, I feel like all of that kind of stuff, like where you have people getting bad gimmicks, and we talk about, I wouldn't do that with them. You know, I feel like that's talking about the business side. And then, like, the storylines on screen. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can word it as child, adult, child. I think I just enjoy everything that comes with it. What I will say, though, is I wish that I could somehow click my fingers and go back to how it was. So nowadays, I feel like it's hard to watch wrestling, and I would say it's impossible for me to watch wrestling now without the business side. Because, like, when we do these watch-alongs, people are like, watch, think about this, watch, think about that. And I love it, and it's great. I mean, I think we have some really interesting conversations. But it's not possible to just watch the show and watch the stories without being aware of everything. There's too many documentaries now, and there's too much wrestling journalists that are giving us the behind-the-scenes news, and there's too much social media activity. I mean, we're getting to the point now where we have conversations about, like, people's tweets and people sending a tweet out and all this kind of stuff. And teases of people returning and, you know, all that stuff. So you know, this is a whole side of wrestling that did not exist when I was young. And I must admit, I do wish sometimes I could just click my fingers and go back to how it was and not know anything. Because I genuinely think the product would be a lot more enjoyable. I think we would all enjoy it more if we didn't know anything. If there was no wrestling journalists and there was no behind the scenes documentaries and there was still kayfabe, right? So, you know, if we could somehow go back whereby there was none of that stuff and it was literally just what you see on TV for the 2 hours is all you get. There's a few doubts out there as to, is it real, is it not real? You know, you've still got that kayfabe. There's kids that are believing it. There's maybe some adults believing it as well. Like, there's still those little seeds of doubt that's out there. You've got people that are like, yeah, it's scripted. But you've got, you know, you've still got a good, healthy majority of people that are like, oh, I don't know, you know. I don't know, you know. If you think about, like, all of how in-depth people go with reading into things, and, you know, how conspiracy theorists and all this kind of stuff. Just think about, like, pro wrestling in the 80s. If someone says that it was, it's fake, you will 100% have someone else going, nah, it's real. Because you will always find someone that gives you the counterpoint. So there is no way that everyone in those rooms in the 1980s knew it was fake. There is no way. Because just from sheer probability, it says to me that, like, you know, if someone says A, there will always be someone saying B. It might only be one person, but there will always be someone that says the opposite. And so that's why, you know, back in the day, I think there was actually a healthy majority of people that thought that it was real. But I wish we could go back to that, because I just think it was so much better not knowing what's coming down the line. I think, you know, it's so much better. Like, there was rumors not long ago that it's going to be Riddle, Randy, Drew are the next 3 opponents for Roman. And here we are now on the verge of Riddle being the first, like, stepping up, calling out Roman. Well, that means that he's probably not going to win, because we know that the next opponent's going to be Randy. That means that Randy's probably not going to win, because we know the next opponent's going to be Drew. And that is actually the next, 3 months or so for Roman Reigns planned out that we already know about. So, like, we know about it. We know what the next 3 months for Roman's going to look like. It's going to be Riddle, Randy, and Drew. Now, can they change their mind? Sure. But if they do change their mind, there's a damn good chance we're going to find out about it as well. So, it's kind of, it'd be so nice to have all that go away. It'd be so nice to not know where things are going. And it'd be so nice to, like, not even know about some of the backstage dramas. Although, even back in the day, some of those still got out, as we said, about Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the steroid trial and whatnot. That all came out. So, you know, there's always been those things, but not on this scale. Not on this scale. We know so much more now about what's happening behind the scenes than ever before. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I really don't know. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I don't think it is. I think knowing rumoured storylines and all of that and all these spoilers in advance, I think is a massive problem, and actually something that can really take enjoyment away from watching the show, because you're just constantly being told what's about to happen. Imagine that. Imagine watching a TV show, like a normal TV show, where there's people out there that actively are going to tell you what is going to happen on each episode before you even get to it. And if you are a diehard wrestling fan, there is no way of avoiding it. Like, unless you don't go on Twitter or you don't go on social media, and dare I say maybe even not speak to anyone about wrestling, that you are going to really struggle to avoid these spoilers, because it is such a big industry now. It's such a massive industry that there's just no way of avoiding it. I can't avoid it. People will always tag me and stuff, or they'll come on here and they'll mention stuff. So, yeah, I think it takes away from it. I mean, right now, I enjoy it all. I just, you know, take it all in, and, you know, we have the conversations, and I love the conversation, so I enjoy it all for that. But I do wish you could just click your fingers and make it go away. Iron Sheik and his hatred for Hulk Hogan is funny to read on Twitter, says Jordan. Planet Dan said, I said to those people that say wrestling is fake, so are films and TV, and we still watch them. In fact, movies are more fake, but they're still great to watch, and we get lost in them like wrestling. Chris says, the creative team should sign confidentiality agreements. There's so many leaks. I completely agree. But not only that, the problem is the machine is so big. So, WWE in particular is such a massive... I mean, they've got God knows how many employees. You've got, like, the guy that sets the ring up that's going to hear the odd thing, going to overhear some conversations. You've got the people that work in makeup. You've got people that work in costuming. You've got people that work on social media. You've got people that work in, working with the venues. You've got runners backstage. You've got, obviously, the producers. You've got so many more aspects other than just the creative team. I don't know that the leaks necessarily come from the creative team, but there's so many people around. I mean, even the truck drivers, even the people that, like, when they load up the trucks, the truck drivers just drive everything to the next location. They're just around in the daytime. They're going to be told things or hear certain things or, I mean, I don't know what the agreements are whereby, do they get paid for this information? If you go up to Dave Meltzer and say to Meltzer, listen, I've heard what the main event is for SummerSlam, do they just give that information for free, or are they getting some sort of payment for that information? Because I actually don't know the answer to that. But if they're being paid for it, that would probably explain why there's so many leaks. Because if they're not getting paid for it, I don't even know why they're doing it, to be honest. So I really don't know. I don't know, it might not be much. It might be like $50 a story or something. It might not be much. But, yeah, they've clearly all got their inside sources. But those sources can come from lots and lots of different places. Not just the creative department. But a company like WWE is so big. That's why it's so hard for them to control their leaks. A company like AEW that's still relatively small. Still, it's growing, but it's still relatively small in comparison. I think they're able to control their leaks a little bit better. Plus, also, they've got a lot of people that have been with them since the start, and I think there's probably a bit more of that loyalty to the brand. I kind of feel like WWE, it's just a conglomerate, heartless machine. Whereas I think maybe AEW still, people have been there since the start. It's only been a few years. They probably feel that loyalty to the brand. They don't want to hurt the brand. I'd imagine if you work for WWE, do you know what I mean? You probably ain't never speaking to Vince. If you work like in the ring crew or whatever, like I don't even know if you would see him around. So you probably feel a bit more disconnected. So maybe that's why they're a little bit more eager to give information. Wrestler with Andy said, the first ever behind-the-scenes rumor I heard was hearing that the Ultimate Warrior was being replaced with the Texas Tornado. Right, we've got Dynamite starting. Hustle for Love says, how is everything ready for AEW? Very much so. I mean, we're going to be starting with that Battle Royal. They said that it was going to start the show, so I'm presuming that's the case. We've got Darby Allin coming down. Don't forget, whoever wins this just goes through to face Moxley. So whoever wins this, it's only the first stage. But Darby Allin making his way down. There is an AEW Championship on a plinth. Didn't look any different. Right, we've got Darby. We've got Tony Nese. Is that Danny Garcia? Lance Archer. Here's Eddie Kingston. I think the crowd would like Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston would be a very popular choice. Eddie Kingston, I think, would be very, very popular. Is he is he the favourite, do you think, Eddie Kingston? Is that it? Is this the Battle Royal? The bell has sounded. We've got 5 guys in there. Is this the Battle Royal? This is like the end of a Battle Royal. Oh, first group of 5. So, okay, right. So they're doing it, right. These are the clubs. So, Lance Archer, Tony Nese, Daniel Garcia, Darby Allin, and Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston to get the win, do you think? Lance Archer picking up, slamming down Tony Nese. Tony Nese rolls underneath that bottom rope. Darby Allin stepping inside with the skateboards. Wallops Lance Archer in the back. Lance Archer turns around, grabs Darby. Darby with that skateboard. Lance goes in between the ropes. And suicide dive by Darby, but obviously doesn't go over the top. Eddie Kingston gets into the ring. Darby Allin jumps in. We got Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin in the ring at the moment. Darby drawing a line in the sand. Eddie Kingston spits outside the ring. These two going at it right now. Quick strikes to the midsection by both guys. Nice right hand by Eddie Kingston. Right hand coming back by Darby. And right now, Eddie Kingston with a boot on the throat of Darby. We've got a couple of seconds as we get in the next set down. Is this Ricky Starks? I think it's Ricky Starks that's making his way down now. Ricky Starks coming down to the ring. Jumps in. Goes for a chop block. No joy. Nice. Code red by Darby. Next person is going to be Jake Hager. Jake Hager coming down. Spear by Ricky Starks on Darby. Jake Hager making his way down. Who's this? Is that Fuego? Yeah, I think that's Fuego. Legend Killer, shout out to you. Is it Fuego or is it Phoenix? Isn't that? I think it's Phoenix. Yeah. Phoenix, we've got Swerve and we've got Keith Lee. I really don't like the structure of this. It's like you get like just a brief. There's nothing on screen that announces them when they come down. You can't actually see the graphics when they're coming down, and like you're having to constantly cut back to the ring because of the action, and then like you're constantly cutting back. Like it seems a bit messy to me. I don't quite know how you get around it, because obviously you can't do the Royal Rumble thing. I don't think anyone's been eliminated right now. Will there be a Joker? I would imagine so, yeah. There hasn't been any talk or any teases of a Joker, but I would imagine there will be, yeah. They do need to work on the production of it. Yeah, I mean, you just get, like, a couple of seconds. The other problem I have, and this is just a disadvantage for me, is I have to obviously have the sound down. So, you know, maybe it's a bit easier if, you can hear the entrance music and you can go, I know that's such and such. But I don't have that. So I just get a couple of seconds where it's like, who's that? Who's that there? Right, Mark Sterling grabs Swerve. Big boot by Tony Nese. Big boot. Swerve still on the outside. Keith Lee charges over. Big strike. Tony Nese holds on. Comes back up. Keith Lee pushes Tony Nese out. And Tony Nese is eliminated. Swerve embraces Keith Lee. Lance Archer is standing behind him. So we've got Keith Lee and Lance Archer face to face right now. Right, we've got another countdown, so we're going to the next set. How long have we had? We've had 7 minutes so far. Splash by Lance Archer. Keith Lee is... eliminated, is he? Is he eliminated? No. They cut away. It looked like he'd been eliminated. Forearm strike by Lance Archer, but Keith Lee surviving on the edge of the ring. Lance Archer going against the ropes, gets picked up. Keith Lee has got Lance Archer up. Where I thought they were counting down the next lot. I don't think they're bringing out the next lot because of these two, is that? Archer's eliminated. So Archer's eliminated. Here we go. 2, 1. Right, Dark Order. I don't know who this is going to be. Is it Silver? Silver making his way down. Tell you what, this would be a good Dynamite to go to because you're getting to see a lot of the stars, aren't you? Takeshita. Takeshita is in there. Right, we've got the Acclaimed. I'm guessing this will be Max Caster. Max Caster making his way down. The Acclaimed, yo, listen. They went from 0.06 seconds back to 0.05 seconds 20 seconds later. Yeah, I think they wanted to stick with that Keith Lee thing, didn't they? Right, the Hearts. Oh, okay. So it's actually John Oh, my God. It was on screen and then they took it away. It's Takeshita, Max Caster, both of the Guns. And there was someone else in there. I can't remember. Yo, listen. Is this 20 or 25? I think it's 20. Is it 21? Because you get 5 wrestlers for each of the, like, you know, hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades. And then, as Moldy said, just like, will there be a Joker? I think there will. Okay, so the Battle Royale is still underway. We've got loads of people in the ring now. Keith Lee going over to Takeshita. I still don't know quite how to pronounce that name, but I think that's how you say it. Phoenix in a bit of trouble. He's on the edge of the ring. I thought you said both of the Buns. Hello, William. Hope you're well. I think Eddie Kingston is my pick here. I'm going to go with Eddie Kingston. I think he's super over. John Silver in the middle of the ring, showing off the guns. Swerve showing off his guns as well. Swerve grabbing the beard of Silver. Silver over the top rope. Edge of the ring. Stomping away. No one eliminated. Well, people have been eliminated, just not for a little while. Strike's coming in. Good evening. Do you think we'll see MJF tonight? Maybe. I think he's gonna still want out of his contract, and I think that he might interrupt the show again to try and find a way of getting out of the contract. But the only thing I don't know is if they might keep him off this episode just to sell what happened last week, but also to keep the focus on the interim title. Takeshita with an elbow to the midsection. Keith Lee face first into the corner. Kyle, shout out to you. Hope you're well. Junior said Joker will be easy. It'll be a New Japan guy. Could be. Strikes coming in. Silver looking a little bit lost at the moment as both of the guns are unloading on him, but he comes back with a chop. Mox is in the main event because wins and losses mean nothing in AEW. Tony Khan is always bypassing his own win-loss statistics. They should do away with them, says Corvid. Strike coming in. Takeshita comes crashing down with a seated senton in the corner of Keith Lee. I was going to say it was a bit slow. Like, nothing's really happening, but we were at commercial. Right. All of a sudden, Excalibur went, "We're back live!" I'm like, oh, well, okay. Right, here comes Powerhouse Hobbs. Big Willie. Big Willie is in there. Powerhouse Hobbs going after Keith Lee. Here's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Darby climbing up. Coffin drop. Right, we're seeing Dante Martin. That's a bit dangerous doing a coffin drop, isn't it? It's a bit dangerous. He came off the top. I suppose he didn't technically go over the top, but he came off the top. Don't know, bit of a grey area. Coffin dropping during a battle royal to the outside. Right, I don't know if we got the graphic on this one as to who came in. It was Bobby Fish, it was Kyle O'Reilly, Wheeler Yuta was in there. Right, again, I still don't know if there's going to be a Joker or not. Yuta is back. Is this the Battle Royal for the sub-AEW Championship? Yes. The ring is full. Now clear house. Lance says it is a grey area. Darby is off his nut. I thought that had been long established. The match is filled with jobbers. Kick by Phoenix and Max Caster goes to the outside. So Max Caster is eliminated. We should start to see some quick eliminations now, I would think, because the ring is full. We're going to need to start getting rid of people. None of the 5 contenders are in the Battle Royal. Wardlow, Lethal, Hangman, Cole, Moxley. It doesn't make any sense, says Corvid. Phoenix, double cutter. We've got both of the gun boys eliminated. I don't know if there is a Joker. I don't know. Keith Lee eliminated by Swerve. Swerve eliminates Keith Lee. Keith Lee doesn't appreciate that. Keith Lee looks quite angry. It's just a smile on the face of Swerve. I don't understand. Why is Swerve not like, listen, every man for himself? Instead, Swerve's like, oh, there is a Joker. Here it is. Who is it? It's Andrade. Andrade El Idolo. Andrade El Idolo is the Joker. So Andrade making his way down. Andrade hit the beef train, says Minty. Andrade with a double axe handle to Darby. Over the top. No, Tanahashi. Well, he's fighting in the... He's already part of it, isn't he? Tanahashi's fighting Goto, and the winner of that will face the winner of Moxley versus whoever wins this. So, he doesn't need to be in this. He just needs to beat Goto. Is it bad? I didn't even notice he was gone. Oh, who's gone? Kingston's on the outside. Andrade was the last guy. Yes. People were expecting Bucks, Omega, Jericho, MJF. Silver eliminated. So, Silver eliminated. Is Kingston gone? Is Kingston gone? I think Eddie Kingston got eliminated as well, but oh, man, he was my pick to win it. I thought we'd get Moxley against Kingston. Well, that's not happening now. There is a bit of a brawl on the outside. I can't even say his name. That dude. Takeshita. Did he just jump over the top rope himself? He just seemed to jump over the top rope to Takeshita. He's eliminated. Thanks for coming. He's gone. We've got Powerhouse Hobbs and Starks in there. Andrade in there. Dante Martin in there. Phoenix in there. Swerve in there. I think we've got Bobby Fish. Starks trying to hold on. Back elbow. Flips over the top. Back elbow again by Dante Martin. Goes over the top. Dante Martin eliminated. Phoenix with a drop kick to Powerhouse Hobbs. Super kick by Phoenix. Hobbs and Starks are a real team. Awesome. Eat it, Dante. Jaden said Andrade will win. Well, I don't know. My pick went, so I'm out. Let's see who gets it. Feel free to predict who you think's going to get it. Phoenix is in there. Swerve is in there. Andrade is in there. Hobbs is in there. Bobby Fish is in there. Kyle O'Reilly is in there. Wheeler Yuta is in there. Phoenix holding on. Darby Allin is in there as well. Justin said it could be Swerve. If Mox is the number one contender, why isn't he the champion? Well, in all fairness, I don't mind. I don't mind there being a battle to crown an interim champion. I don't mind there being a fight rather than just handing it to whoever is the number one contender. I don't mind that aspect. But you could have number one against number two, and it could have been that simple, couldn't it? Number one faces number two to crown the new interim champion. Boom, done. Against the ropes goes Bobby. Drop kick by Swerve. Kyle O'Reilly in the centre gets picked up. Backbreaker by Swerve. Swerve with a backbreaker. We've got loads of people down in the ring at the moment. 20-odd minutes into this. Does this mean Swerve and Keith Lee are done being a tag team? I don't know. Definitely some tension teased, if nothing else. Oh, so they're showing us the elimination. Kingston was charged at by Jake Hager. And that's how he got eliminated. Darby throws Bobby Fish over the top. Bobby Fish eliminated. So it's not going to be Bobby Fish. I don't think too many people were expecting Bobby Fish to be the one. Darby Allin colliding into Kyle O'Reilly. Gets thrown over the top. Darby Allin gone. Darby Allin eliminated. That might be a surprise. That might be a surprise. Big boot. Swerve has gone. Swerve has been eliminated by Andrade. Powerhouse Hobbs. Ricky Starks. Andrade. Phoenix. Kyle O'Reilly. That is, I believe, our final 5. Phoenix with DDT to Andrade. Phoenix going against the rope. Springboards off. Arm drag. Stomp by Phoenix. Kyle O'Reilly, Phoenix, Andrade, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks. One of these 5. Andrade goes against the ropes. Powerhouse Hobbs collides into Phoenix from behind. Phoenix goes down. Against the ropes goes Phoenix. Big spine buster by Powerhouse Hobbs. And he's looking to pick up Phoenix. He just deadlifts him up, carries him over. He's got Phoenix on that top rope. It's Wheeler Yuta. I thought that was Ricky Starks. He was down on the ground, and Powerhouse Hobbs was standing over him, so I thought he was like looking after him. So I thought that was Ricky Starks, but it's Wheeler Yuta. Oh, okay. Well, that changes a few things then. So now we're down to 4. We're down to Wheeler Yuta, Phoenix. Wheeler Yuta, Phoenix, Andrade, and Kyle O'Reilly. And it is definitely them. Definitely. Wheeler Yuta, Andrade, Kyle O'Reilly. Wheeler Yuta holds on. Maybe it'll be Yuta that wins. Maybe Wheeler Yuta wins. And we get Wheeler Yuta against Moxley again. Because they had a match before, didn't they? That was very widely regarded. Missile dropkick by Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta inverted atomic drop to Kyle O'Reilly. Forearm strike by Kyle O'Reilly. Wheeler Yuta goes out the ring. Jumps back into a German suplex. O'Reilly off the ropes. Clothesline. Wheeler Yuta goes down. Yuta was gone to Japan before they had a lot of momentum. This is a great way to get it back, says Corvid. Was that a regular Battle Royale, Casino Battle Royale? If it's a regular Battle Royale, they should not have had the Joker. Someone explain. No, it was a Casino Battle Royale. Against the ropes. Oh. Low blow by Andrade with Phoenix. Goes over the top. Phoenix eliminated. We're down to 3. We're down to 3. Kyle O'Reilly, Wheeler Yuta, or Andrade. Kyle O'Reilly, Wheeler Yuta, or Andrade. One of these is going to go through to face Moxley. Andrade versus Mox. Mox wins, says can't stop, won't stop. Over the top goes Andrade. Andrade eliminated. Wheeler Yuta trying to get rid of Kyle O'Reilly. Forearm strike by O'Reilly. O'Reilly on the edge of the ring is dragging Wheeler Yuta out. It's going to be either Wheeler Yuta or Kyle O'Reilly. Kick coming in by Kyle. These two exchanging blows at the moment. Kyle O'Reilly flops back into the ring. Dragon screw. Kyle going against the rope. Big boot. It's Kyle O'Reilly that wins it. Kyle O'Reilly wins it. Wasn't expecting that. Kyle O'Reilly gets the win. Kyle O'Reilly will take on Jon Moxley, and the winner will go to Forbidden Door to face either Tanahashi or Goto for the interim title. O'Reilly for AEW champ. They're pushing Kyle. First to beat Darby, now facing Moxley. We got Moxley backstage. Moxley says it's been a weird year. It's been a strange year. You're going to be in there with the wrong guy at the wrong place at the wrong time, says Moxley. The Forbidden Door belongs to me. Moxley said, this entire sport belongs to me. Okay, so Kyle O'Reilly against Jon Moxley. People in the chat don't like O'Reilly, says Damien. J Brock said it's sad. AEW shows make me look forward to WWE. Junior said just give Moxley the bout. We know Discovery wants ratings, so the WWE guys get the main events. I think it might be Tanahashi that wins the interim title to have Punk versus Tanahashi down the road, says Brenton. Give Moxley the bout, and when Punk comes back, do Mox versus Punk, says Jason. Moxley was probably upset that Punk was going to face Tanahashi to begin with, since he's had a long-term feud with him. Mr. Leonardo said they never called it a casino battle royal on the graphics. It was supposed to be a regular battle royal. Did they mention it was casino version? I don't know. It was announced somewhere because it was reported before we even got to the show in the chat that it was going to be a casino battle royal. So, what's this? I've still got the audio. Can you? I don't. Oh, have they cut it? I think they've cut it. Right, we just could hear a voice in the ring. I think it was Justin Roberts saying, have we got Luke in the crowd? There he is, Luke. Like, it was, I don't know if he was wishing him a happy birthday or something. Man, I want to see if I can play it to you. It's so wild when you listen to it on Fight. Mox. AEW. I can hear talking. I can hear Justin Roberts talking during this commercial break. Who else is here for the first time tonight? Welcome to all of you. Have any of you been to AEW before? Welcome back. This is my first show and I'm here for Danhausen. Are you ready to get loud? 5, 2, 1. They just counted down. We're going to go back. Are you ready to go loud? In 5. Amazing. He's talking to you. You could kind of hear Jim Ross in the background as well, like on his headset saying something. That was wild. Are you satisfied with the Battle Royale? I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. I found it weird. I think the production of the Casino Battle Royale is off. Like, you're trying to watch the action, and then, like, you've got to watch 5 people coming down to the ring, and it's hard to get any kind of focus on that, and you only get, like, fleeting few seconds, and then you've got to go back, and there was a moment where they started announcing some people were coming down, then they had to stop because Keith Lee was battling Lance Archer, and they decided to stick with that instead. So the production of that is not, it's not quite right. I don't know how you change it. What's that? A new title? There's another title. The All Atlantic Championship. There's another belt. They must have found a wrestler that doesn't have one. There must be a wrestler. Tony Khan must have been there going, Miro hasn't got a belt. And they're like, yeah, everyone else has got all the championships. All Atlantic. Let's go with that. All Atlantic Championship. Wild. Not trios. All Atlantic Championship. I wonder if I can find a picture of it. Well, I can. I mean, that's not going to be hard, is it? It's wild, isn't it? I really don't think they need another title. Is this starting now? It's starting now, is it? I think this is part of the All Atlantic Championship. The All Atlantic Championship. All Atlantic Championship. Buddy is in there. There's the All Atlantic Championship. I didn't even know they were showing off a new title tonight. It's quite a nice belt. I'll tell you something. When they do belts, they don't flip and mess around, do they? Look at the detail work in the background of this title. Look at the detail work there. I mean, they really smash it out the park with their belts. I've always said I feel like belts should feel prestigious. They should feel like, you know, everyone's trying to get their hands on them, so it should be something that you would be proud to have. Not like the god-awful tag titles in WWE or the god-awful blue universal strap and all this kind of stuff. It should be something that I think is really detailed. And, you know, listen, they absolutely smash it out the park with their belts. I think they do fantastic titles. So that's it. I mean, we've got what? Is that Mexico, China, UK, USA, Canada, Japan? The All Atlantic Championship. I suppose in a way, thinking about it, the TNT title would be their Intercontinental. The All Atlantic would be their version of the United States kind of belt. And then they've got their big title and their tag titles. What other titles have they got? FTW never gets defended. I don't know, what other belts have they got? The Ring of Honor ones will surely go away as soon as Ring of Honor gets started. I was expecting MJF. Japan isn't Atlantic, though. That is true. It's Pacific. Stop being so Pacific with your criticism. Nice little call back, Owen Hart. He was a great European champion, says Dean. The TNT belt is their TV title belt. I was sort of comparing it to WWE. I'm just thinking they have 2 mid-card belts. And so now they have 2 mid-card belts. So it is comparable. But I think it's just the fact you've got the FTW belt that's in. You've got the Ring of Honor belts that appear. You've got the AAA tag titles that make appearances as well. All Atlantic. 2 Pacific on the West Coast. John said Japan was in the Atlantic 200 million years ago. Yeah, take that. FTW is the 24/7 title, says Malik. I suppose you could look at it that way. Obviously, it's different rules, but I suppose you could look at it that way. They do have a 24/7 title. That is 2 shows, though. That is across 5 hours of weekly broadcasting, whereas these guys only have 3 hours. It's a lot of titles. It is a lot of titles. I expected MJF to win the Battle Royal. That way he could possibly beat Moxley and win the belt. And then Punk versus MJF one final time for the belt. But whatever, says C Shop. AEW is the world. Then you've got TNT as the US, Atlantic as the Intercontinental, tags as tags, women as women, FTW's 24/7. I guess comparing WWE and AEW. They said it represents all the fans from around the world. What does the world title represent then? All the fans in the galaxy. The All Atlantic title represents everyone. Don't let Atlantic throw you off. It represents everyone. Wardlow still to come. But Jay White to show up in the main event. I'm not expecting it, to be honest. I suppose there could be a little something after. I think it'll probably be more like Moxley wins and well done. He now goes on to face either Tanahashi or Goto. I think it'll be something like that. I expect it to be Moxley. Have Pac ever faced Matthews for? I can't remember. Similarities between them. They are sculpted and ripped upper bodies that move around like cruiserweights. I think there's a good chance they did face each other. I mean, I think they were both down. Were they in NXT around at the same time? Because you had like Neville and you had Blake and Murphy. I don't know if they might have just missed each other. But I'm sure they know of each other from NXT. And then they were both in 205 Live as well. So there's maybe a chance that they competed then. I don't think they've competed in AEW. Did you think Raw was one of the best ever? You gave it 8 for the first time. Can't see AEW's been an 8 today. Did I think Raw was the best? I thought Raw was excellent. I thought there was some really significant stuff that happened. I really enjoyed the beatdown of Cody by Seth. I thought that was a hot start. Really enjoyed the whole Judgment Day stuff. I thought that was very good as well. So yeah, I thought there was some interesting stuff that took place on Raw. It was a very entertaining 3 hours. So I do think it was one of the stronger Raws of the year, yeah. I think people were saying, was it the strongest Raw since, like, you know, maybe the Raw after WrestleMania, which I also thought was quite strong. I would say there's probably a good chance it was. To be honest, it'd be really easy for me to know because I'd just go back through all my scores. And, you know, I always score the shows how I honestly feel about them. So, yeah, it'd be very easy for me to just go back through my scores and see which ones I enjoyed the most. But I did think this week was very good. That Judgment Day stuff I thought was excellent. I did hear some criticisms about it, though. I did hear a few little criticisms. I think it's just the way that Balor joins. You know, like, why didn't he turn at the pay-per-view? Why is it... How have they managed, since the pay-per-view, which was only 24 hours before, how within the space of 24 hours have they managed to convince Balor to join? And then how has Balor been able to convince Rhea and Damian Priest to turn on Edge? Like, in the space of 24 hours, that is a lot. Edge has gone to Balor, said, I want you to join. Balor has then somehow managed to get Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest to join him instead and turn. And I don't know. I do understand the criticism of, man, all of that played out real quick. Real quick. Like, maybe it might have been a bit better to have had Balor join and just run with Balor being in the group for a little bit. And then as a few weeks go by, it would make more sense as to how Balor had been, you know, he'd had time to convince Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. But maybe, you know, who knows? Maybe they didn't feel like they were making the progress they wanted to. I don't know. I'm sure they can come up with some way of explaining it. But that was a criticism that I heard that I thought was fair. I think it's a fair criticism. It's not enough to change my review of the show, but... Against the ropes goes Pac, knee strike by Buddy Matthews. It would be cool if there was a way of having a database of the weekly Raw and SmackDown scores. Well, that's probably a very easy to do thing, isn't it? I don't fancy going back through the old ones, though. I'm not going to lie. Plus, also, it's all just subjective, isn't it? I mean, what I score it is not what other people are going to score it. It's just... It may be a useful guide just to point people in like the direction of the better shows. I would say it's probably useful from that regard. But who's going to sit down and go, do you know what, I really fancy watching a Raw from 2018? Let's just have a look at this database and see which one was a good show. I don't know if anyone's going to use that. I don't know if it would have any kind of use value whatsoever. Top rope Enziguri by Pac. Imagine a future match with Omega, O'Reilly, Pac, and Matthews, says Corvids. It's because McMahon wanted Judgment Day as supernatural. Edge said no, and it upset Damian Priest. I think you're confusing real life and storyline there. I saw the article that they went to Edge and said... you know, we want to look to make this supernatural, and he said no. And good on him, honestly. When I read that article, he became my new favourite wrestler. So, good on him. But I don't think that's why he ended up being kicked out of the group. I think they probably took him out of the group because they're going to look to use him now. Maybe back as a babyface, maybe back as a solo star, what with Cody being injured. I don't think his removal from the group was anything to do with, like, you know, preventing it being supernatural. God, I hope that group doesn't become supernatural now that Balor's in it. Kick by Pac. Buddy Matthews goes back to the corner. This is a pretty good match, says Lone Star Friends. Mr. Leonardo says correct. Good match. Boot by Pac. Buddy Matthews is down. Pac going up top. Pac up top. We've had 46 minutes of Dynamite. Black Arrow connects. And it's a win for Pac. Pac beats Buddy Matthews. So there we go. It is a win for Buddy Matthews, for Pac over Buddy Matthews. So it's going to be Pac facing either Ethan Page or Miro. Ethan Page and Miro are going up against each other. We've got Phoenix coming down. We've got Pence coming down. We've got Death Triangle in the ring. We're seeing Matthews walking away. House of Black have come out. I didn't know if they might turn their back on Buddy Matthews now that he lost. Eddie Kingston's backstage. Jake Hager. You cost me a chance to be world champion. Listen, Eddie Kingston gets a microphone, you listen. I'm still gonna get you. Eddie Kingston says, don't count me down. I want you on Rampage. So he brought the guy in. Poor guy got dragged in. Eddie Kingston looks like a stepdad from the 90s movies. I know they want AJ Finn and to get Bianca Rhea Ripley, but no one happens can see AJ or Finn be some match. Look into it. I don't know what? No one happens can see. Look! I don't know if you could briefly hear that. It's Justin Roberts again. I think they've cut it this time now. Yeah, I think they've cut it now. He was... He just says like a few words and then he goes... CM Punk. The other problem as well is that I've got this music playing over the top of it, so if I play you what that is like, if you're watching on Fight, then you can hear it. Justin Roberts is in the ring reading out what I think are text messages or tweets that have been received. And he's talking to the crowd. And he keeps saying, talking to the crowd. And he keeps saying stuff like, to see CM Punk, we've traveled all the way from blah, blah, blah. And we're still at commercial break. Trent Beretta! Guys, when you come back from commercial break, Trent Beretta will be in the ring. Because Justin Roberts has just told me. And right now, I've got no picture. I've just got this graphic. James said, I'm always watching on Fight. It's mental, innit? It's like, it's mental. We've done it in the past as well, where, like, the show has ended, and then all of a sudden, like, something will come on. And, like, I remember once we were actually in a backstage room with Moxley, and he was sat there with, like, some champagne and everything, and he was just, like, chatting off camera with this champagne, and we clearly was not meant to be seeing it. but it found its way. It found its way coming onto Fight. Oh look, guys, it's Trent Beretta. Well, that's a surprise, isn't it? Today is meant to be National Best Friends Day, but my friends aren't here. Okay, so what's this? It's about best friends. What's up, Trent? FTR, why don't you come out and make things right? Looks like FTR are going to come out. So FTR making their way down to the ring. Best in the damn world, FTR. Ring of Honor Tag Team Champs. 6-star FTR. Okay, we're going to hear from FTR. FTR in the ring with Trent. FTR chants from the AEW fans. You're right. We are the absolute best tag team on this planet. I hope FTR don't turn heel, says Malik. 6-star losers, says End of Days. Dynamite has been on another level lately. It's been awesome, says James. New Japan. The United Empire. So, is this going to be Great O'Khan? Oh, no, it's Will Ospreay. Wow. Big name. Big name. Will Ospreay is there. I'd like to see the... Who? I don't know who they are. I know who Will Ospreay is. I'd like to have seen the crowd reaction to that. So Will Ospreay comes out. I'd love to have cut to the crowd in that moment and seen like the crowd freaking out. Crowd are going nuts. Show me then. Show me the crowd going nuts. Will Ospreay in the ring. I don't know who these other guys are. The United Empire. There is Will Ospreay, the leader. He looks great, actually. I thought Will Ospreay looked great there. I think he looks great. I wish they'd have shown me fans going wild, rather than just saying fans are going wild, and then in the background you can clearly see fans not going wild. I do believe they're worth some fans going wild because it's Will Ospreay. He's a great star, big name. I have no doubt that there were fans going wild, but I wish they'd shown me those fans. William Regal. Obviously got a great relationship with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish and everyone. Ospreay is jacked. Almost didn't recognize him, says Brent. He is, isn't he? He's got a good size to him. Seems like a fun... He seems like a... He seems young, fun, vibrant. You only get a chance to see Ospreay for a few moments there, but he kind of gave me a little bit like... it's going to sound like a real diss, but I don't mean it. Like Jake Paul. So you know like how Jake Paul is young, dare I say vibrant. I mean, he has absolutely taken the boxing world by storm. I know he's got a lot of critics and a lot of people that, you know, are against him, but there's no denying that he's like one of the biggest personalities in the world. I mean, like, the amount of people that tune into his fights and everything. And you think about that kind of young generation coming through, like Tank Davis in boxing, and you look at like Sugar Sean O'Malley. I do look at like Will Ospreay there, and he's got a good size to him. He looks quite youthful. I don't know. He looked cool. He came across as I really like what he was wearing as well. Like, he just looked like a lad. He looked like a guy. Just, there was no gimmick or anything like this. He looked cool. Little bit like how Roman, you know, how Roman with his just like wears like tracksuit bottoms and a cool t-shirt. But he just looks cool. Like, it's getting that vibe from Ospreay. Like, there was no wild costume. I mean, granted, he wasn't in wrestling attire. He was in, like, just normal, like, tracksuit bottoms and whatever. But, yeah, I was just kind of looking at him. I was like, man, he comes across as being cool. He comes across as being young. He comes across as being vibrant. He comes across like he's in the know. He's in control. He's in control of his own destiny. I was kind of getting those vibes from Ospreay, just in the few fleeting moments that we got a chance to see him. I think he came across like a star. And I'd definitely want to see more of him. I'd love to hear him cut promo. I mean, I know Will Ospreay, but I haven't seen him in quite a long time. And he has got jacked. He is definitely looking... he's definitely grown into being a man. I don't actually know how old he is. Is he like in his mid-20s? Because I think he was like really young before. Let's have a look, see how old he is. I don't think he's in his 30s. I'll be shocked if he's in his 30s. Older than I thought. Older than I thought. Honestly, I would have said 26. I would have said about 26. He's 29. He's still in his 20s, though. And actually, he's only just turned 29. About a month ago, he turned 29. But, yeah, he looked cool. He looked really cool. Will came out. You go to break. Let it sink in, says Vape Ross Vape. Right, here we go. We've got Hangman out there. Hangman versus... Who's he facing? Is that AJ Styles? One count. Who is he facing? I don't even know who he's facing. Still got 10 years in him. Oh, he's still got plenty of time. Yeah, absolutely. Could you imagine Ospreay versus Danielson? Be fantastic. Yeah, be fantastic. 29 is so old. It's older than I thought. I honestly thought he was about 26. So I hold my hands up that he is older than I thought. David Finlay. Ah. Finlay's son. Very cool. What is up? What have I missed? Quite a bit. Ospreay just came out, which was really cool. I would have liked for it to have felt... I would have liked for them to have took more time with it. I don't think that they... He came across like a star. I don't think they did enough to get across how big of a deal he is. Undeniably, there will have been people in that crowd freaking out. When I say that people weren't, what I mean is the ones that you could see in the background were people that were kind of on their feet and looking, but I did not see anyone going... I didn't see anyone giving those kind of like, oh my god, Ospreay's here. I didn't see anyone doing that. And I think there were people doing that. Because I think that if you bought tickets to go to AEW tonight, I don't think you was expecting to see Will Ospreay, who is legit one of the best wrestlers in the world. So I genuinely think that, but we never saw that. How they didn't find those people and be able to just give you that on screen... Like, you know, it makes them feel so much bigger if you've got people going, oh my god, I can't believe he's here type thing. It's the thing with AEW sometimes. It's too quick for its own good sometimes. You know, they do that when they're previewing like forthcoming matches. They do that when they do their promos backstage. You know, as Eddie Kingston said, don't tell me I've only got a minute and start counting me down. But, like, you know, those promos are really, like, you don't get much time to do anything or say anything. And, like, there as well, like, he's come out and it's like, then there's been an attack in the ring. He's then come down and, you know, it's just been a little bit too quick. Like, I would have milked that longer. I think I would have found those people in the crowd that were freaking out. I think I would have let that breathe, because I think what you want to do is you want to get some of these people over in the sense that don't know them. And I think there's going to be a lot in the AEW fan base that don't know who these New Japan stars are, and even people like Ospreay, which is absolutely fine. But I think like you're going to have to do a little bit of work to get them over, and I don't know if that will have got them over. They showed one guy freaking out. Oh, I didn't even see one guy freaking out. Oh, hold my hands upon that. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. Speaking of, they're already halfway through the show. What do you consider the best wrestler in the world as of today? Well, I do feel like the best wrestlers in the world have been, in this generation, largely in New Japan. So, you know, like AJ Styles was over in New Japan, Kenny Omega was in New Japan, Okada's obviously still in New Japan, Ospreay, New Japan, Zack Sabre Jr., New Japan. So I do feel that, like, you've really got to be watching New Japan if you want to see the best in-ring technicians. I do think there's an argument for Bryan Danielson, and certainly since he left WWE, because he's being allowed to like express himself more and have the kind of matches he wants to have now, rather than work in the WWE style, which is less about 5-star matches and more about, you know, just telling the stories that need to be told. So I would probably be looking at the likes of Danielson. I would be looking at the likes of... I think Cody's got to be in the conversation, along with Seth at the moment. I think those are amongst my favourite matches of the year that I've seen. I think they've been fantastic, those matches. So I think, and I'd always have Asuka in the conversation. I think in ring, honestly, if you could put her in AEW so that she can show exactly what she can do without any limitations, I think that she would surprise a lot of people with just how good she is. So I think that those would be the kind of names. And, of course, your Zack Sabre Jr., your Ospreays, and people along those lines. Josh Alexander is that name I keep hearing at the moment. The Impact champion. I keep hearing his name getting mentioned for, like, match quality, but I haven't actually seen him compete. I saw him compete a long, long time ago, but I think he might have been in the X division. He certainly wasn't champion. So there could be something there as well. But Punk versus MJF was great, says Matt. Cole is there. Cookie Monster has a real name. There is an official ruling for how many Tootsie Pop licks it takes to get to the center. You know what the commentators are for New Japan? Oh, what is there? New Japan commentators, is there? Over the top to the outsides. Josh Alexander is a beast, says Heather. Do you think Balor setting up the faction, he could bring the Demon and then Bray returns with the Court of Wyndham? No. I am not expecting Bray to return to WWE anytime soon. Josh Alexander is defo up there, says James. Right, Hangman back in the ring. David Finlay back in the ring. This show has flown by, in all fairness. Back elbow. Boom. Powerbomb. 2. Takes me all night to get through a Tootsie Pop. This crowd is tragic, says Drogo. If there's any consolation, tonight will be the night the NBA Finals are against AEW Dynamite. Game 3 just started. Oh, well, that's not good news, is it? Well, that's not good news for AEW to go up against the NBA Finals. Finlay goes back. Hangman comes over. Backbreaker. 1, 2. I like both companies, but AEW does more in 2 hours than WWE in 3. Did you enjoy the Queen's Jubilee? I didn't watch all of it, to be honest. But from what I saw, I did, yeah. I thought it was really good. There was an excellent bit where they had all the different decades like represented of her title reign. And there was some really fun stuff, like they had all the James Bond cars for like the 60s. I think it was the 60s that was representing. And they had like some old TV characters throughout the ages. They had loads of like pop stars. They had like just loads of different things. The Only Fools and Horses vehicle. And they had these like buses decorated for the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and 2010s. And there's some weird stuff in it as well, as you always get. But yeah, there was some pretty fun stuff that I saw. And that was pretty good. Buckshot lariat by Hangman. 1, 2, 3. Hangman gets the pin. Hangman is victorious. The match is awesome. The crowd is dead. They don't care. I just don't know David Finlay. There's no reason to care. Her title, she's been champ. Stale booking, says Brenton. Paige won't turn heel. 80% of AEW's rosters are heels. Right, is Hangman going to say a few words? Hangman's going to say a few words. Cowboy shiz is the chant. There's a lot I want to say. Who's going to have the longer reign? Roman or the Queen? Good question. Never seen them both in the same room at the same time. Tonight I wasn't in the Battle Royale. So I'm not going to get a title shot anytime soon. There's not only one world championship in professional wrestling.
So the last Sunday in June, Forbidden Door. I want the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship.
So, Hangman wants the IWGP Heavyweight title. Hangman says he wants Okada. So, Hangman says he wants Okada.
Also, everyone, newsflash, Paige, you aren't a champion anymore.
You're not a champion anymore. I forgot he's still carrying that Owen Hart belt.
Championship, and I won the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Meaning I've been on a freaking roll that ain't nobody gonna stop. And if anyone should get a shot at the championship, the IWGP championship, it should be me.
If anyone should get a shot at the IWGP Championship, then it should be me. Your time has come and gone. So Adam Cole just cutting a promo. First time seeing Will Ospreay, and I'm a huge fan, says Christopher. Very good. Too many dang belts. I can't keep up, says Brent. Okada? Who, says Alex? Okay, so Thunder Rosa coming up next. She's taking on Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir. I would like to be your problem, and I'm asking you, will you solve me? What is she, a flipping Rubik's Cube? What is she, a crossword? Jeez, they've turned her into the Riddler. Right, here is Wardlow. Wardlow making his way out. Nice to see him not in handcuffs. Now that he's got his AEW contract. Okada versus Hangman. My God. Wardlow in civilian clothes here. So I don't know what this is going to be. I think it's going to be an interview. MJF is all WWE, says that side. MJF is hashtag all WWE. And New Japan Dominion is on Sunday. Might watch it later that day, says David. Welcome to Wardlow's world. I asked not to take part in the Battle Royal. The reason being, CM Punk's our champion. So if I'm not beating him, I don't want it yet. That's a bit stupid, isn't it? Because if you get the interim belt, I'm sure you will face him. There is a title I do want. What was it? What belts do you want? TNT? He wants the TNT title. It's time for a change. Here's Scorpio Sky. Wardlow doesn't need an asterisk in the win column. Cheers for the clarification. Get the TNT title, says Matt. If your boy's got a busted knee, then I'll wait until you're 110% ready. Well, there we go. TNT Championship. Does Tony Khan just like 1,000 different variants of belts in his office? I wonder if there's a deal with like Jazzwares, and Jazzwares are like, listen, we need you to generate like 20 odd belts because the figures sell better when they're with a belt. Can you come up with some new belts because it's really great for the figures? We're hearing the security are suing Wardlow. The bald staff guy is hot, says Lone Star Friend. Right, tonight we've got Kyle O'Reilly against Jon Moxley. We got 40 minutes to go. Up next, though, we got Thunder Rosa against Marina Shafir. Can she solve Marina Shafir? MJF needs the TNT title. I thought Lambert's crew were faces. Yeah, well, I believe they are, but I suppose... I don't know if we're getting face versus face or if we're pivoting a little bit now. Thunder Rosa versus Marina Shafir. Wardlow versus 20 security guards. I've got Wardlow. Boom. Security are suing, yes, apparently. Sterling sets them up. Wardlow will knock them down. Right, we are at commercial break. We got 39 minutes to go. I think we've got 2 matches to go as well. One for, I think it's for the women's title, open challenge thing. And then the other one is the Moxley against Kyle O'Reilly. All the belts remind me of the Tennessee promoter Nick Goulas, says Brenton. Cornette talks about him and the belts he had in his office that he would use for occasional Night of Champions events. It is strange. I sort of feel, I get the logic. The logic is that to make someone feel important, you give them a belt. But when so many people have got belts, it doesn't work. Like, only the big titles feel important. I don't even think the TNT title feels all that important. I don't know how important the All-Atlantic title's going to feel. The tag titles don't feel that important at the moment to me. Maybe if they were on FTR, that would be a better way forwards. And I think we need to get rid of these Ring of Honor titles as well. Just put them. Just get rid of them. We don't need them. They need to be in Ring of Honor. They don't need to be in AEW. So there's a lot. And then you've got Adam Cole running around with his Owen Hart belt thing that he won for winning that tournament, which I really thought they were just going to give him, and then that would be it. It was a nice thing for Double or Nothing. And now it goes home on the mantelpiece, but he's walking around with it. Does that mean that Britt Baker's going to be walking around with hers as well? Does that thing ever get defended? That would be my other question for that Owen Hart belt. Does it actually get defended, or does he get to carry it around for a year as if he's won King of the Ring? I don't know. Right, we're going back to the action. There was no Justin Roberts during that commercial break. We've got the Young Bucks. I don't want to see Dan Lambert's face. He's the best insect repellent, says Larry. Young Bucks are back. We want our World Tag Team titles. Here's the Hardys. Okay, so we got the Young Bucks, we got the Hardys. Here's Jurassic Express. Christian said, I don't think either of you guys deserve a tag title match. AEW and Ring of Honor has been brought by Stephanie McMahon after the break, says Richards. A match. Next week. For the World Tag Team titles. Hardy Boys. Ladder match. Ladder match next week. Young Bucks, Jurassic Express, and Hardys. Is Jungle Boy going to be happy with that? Is Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus going to be happy they've just been booked into a triple threat ladder match for no reason? If I'm Jungle Boy, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry. Can't these two teams face each other and we'll face the winner? I'm sorry, what? I've got to be in a ladder match with the Hardys and the Young Bucks. And it's not management that's making me do it, it's Christian. I sort of feel like they need a new manager. They need, someone new guiding their career. Marina Shafir has made her way down. Marina, the problem. Could it be the start of a turn? Well, I'd like that. I would like for us to see a segment where Jungle Boy's like, why did you do that? Why did you put us in that? These titles mean everything to us. Those odds are heavily stacked against us. Always does my head in, man. When you've got face champions that are just like, give me all the challenges. Remember when Big E was doing that? Wasn't it day one where Big E was meant to be in a triple threat? And then it became a fatal four-way. And then it became a fatal five-way. And every time someone else got added, Big E was like, the more the merrier. Bring them all in. It's like, no. You should be hating this. Your chances of retaining are getting less and less and less and less and less. Can't imagine any. I wouldn't be thrilled. If I was a world champion and I was being booked into those kinds of matches, I'd be like, hang on, do you know how hard it was to win these belts? It's really hard to win these belts. I don't fancy giving them away. So yeah, that would be good if they used that as a way of starting the wedge between Christian and Jurassic Express. Man United Hud says, I've got a feeling that this is going to end up with Christian turning on them. If it goes that way, I think it'll be fun. If they use that as part of the story as to... I would have liked Jungle Boy in the background just to have been like... What? Or like Luchasaurus be like, oh, God, no, I don't want this. Right, we're underway with Thunder Rosa against Marina Shafir. I like both of these women. Marina Shafir is green, but they've been giving her a lot of like time on dark, I believe. Shafir trying to grab a hold of the leg. She's tied up the legs, but she got a bit lost there. I don't think she quite knew what to do with that. She's trying to throw Thunder Rosa in the corner, but it's reversed. Marina Shafir's in the corner. Another chop coming in. Another one as well. Forearm strikes by Thunder Rosa. Marina Shafir comes out. Big chop by Marina Shafir. Both women in the center. Clothesline. Down goes Marina Shafir. Knees coming in by Thunder Rosa. Grabbed by Marina Shafir. Kick to the midsection. That's very Goldust, isn't it? Yeah. That bit where she drops down and punches up, and then she even went into a bit of the Goldust stance. Dustin Rhodes. Oof. Suplex by Marina Shafir. Women's Championship and All Atlantic Championship have the same template. It's based on an old Mid-Atlantic belt, as most of the AEW belts are, says Corvid. Belts are, they do that so well. That's something that I think they've done a fantastic job with, is those belts. They always feel prestigious. They always feel like really, really good. Really, much more in line with what I would like to see wrestling belts be rather than the WWE ones. Right now, she's got a bit of a camel clutch, but it's not really in. Strikes coming in by Thunder Rosa. James says, come on, Rosa. Jeff just came back from injury. Keep him away from ladders, says Elizabeth. Right, Thunder Rosa over. Being stretched against the ropes. We are into the final half an hour of this. Amin, hello. Shout out to you. Kick out by Thunder Rosa. Marina Shafir is on top. She is straight jacket, stretch. Trying to pull back on the arms. Thunder Rosa in a seated position. Crowds applauding, trying to will these two on. Thunder Rosa goes down. Marina Shafir doing that is such a weird thing for her to do. I believe that to be like an insult, like tush tush, kind of a dismissive kind of hand gesture, I believe. But it's just really weird seeing her in the middle of a match going. I would probably say, don't do that again. Mason said, if you watch it back, Jungle Boy does react in that way. I will have to watch it back. I would want him to be like... What? So maybe that is about to start the build between Jurassic Express and Christian. Maybe that is going to start. That split. Kick coming in by Marina Shafir. If Edge was convinced to leave the Judgment Day storyline, which he loved, I bet Vince has a championship run for him when he returns, most likely the Universal title. Moldy said Jeff's just going to jump off a ladder through a flaming table of thumbtacks and then lay there for the rest of the match. I saw, I guess, what you would call a mock-up of the WWE Undisputed tag belts. They had stupid copper penny plates. Double knees by Thunder. Marina Shafir over against the ropes. Drop kick to the back there by Thunder Rosa. Marina Shafir is down. Drop kick right to the chest by Thunder Rosa. Suplex by Thunder Rosa, and she bridges, and Marina Shafir gets her shoulder up. Don't care for this match. Rosa should have not been given the belt, says Larry. They've been teasing a split for weeks, says Doppelganger. Kyan Tai says MJF shows up to end the show. I think Taker was as big of a diva as Hulk, says Knowledge Untamed. It's sign language in Spanish for shame on you. Yeah, it is like a derogatory kind of, I can't find the word in, but I suppose shame on you is probably a good way of putting it. I used to know a girl that did it, and she said it was like tuss, like tut tut, as if, yeah, like shame on you, like tut tut. It's very dismissive hand gesture, but it's just weird seeing someone do it during a match. Tusk. MJF would be a great ending to this show, says Swerve Show Dog. Kick coming in by Thunder Rosa. How long we got? 25 minutes. Thunder on one leg. Shafir trying to get her into a reversal. Duck underneath. Thunder Rosa goes round the back, reversed by Marina Shafir. 1, 2, 3. Thunder Rosa gets the win. What would be nice would be to see a battle royal for the women's title, says Kyan Tai. Thunder Rosa has picked up the victory. There we go. Marina Shafir's been solved. She's been solved. Wasn't that big of a problem in the end. Kick to the back by Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir picks up Thunder Rosa, headbutts to the back. Goes for a throw. She's grabbing an arm and a leg. She's pulling back. She's putting her in the submission holds. I saw a picture of her doing this the other day to Sky Blue. Putting that submission hold on. Drop kick by Toni Storm. Toni Storm has come down. Toni Storm unloading on Marina Shafir. German suplex. Thunder Rosa. And Driver. AEW used the after-match attack brawl stuff too much, said Master Chief. I've never heard of Marina Shafir until this match. Toni Storm picks up the AEW Women's title. Hands it over to... why are they being all so awkward about it? Thunder Rosa holding up the belt. Kyle O'Reilly won the Battle Royal. He did. We're backstage with Jade and the baddies, Kira Hogan and Red Velvet. The baddies. It seems to me that no one can mind their damn business. Jade, no cursing. Chris Statlander, land yourself back to that ugly planet that you came from. Okay. Red Velvet against Chris Statlander on Rampage. Where is Ruby Riott? I mean, Soho, says Brian. Don't know. Why only ex-WWE Superstar wins a Battle Royal? Well, I don't know if they purposefully chose for an ex-WWE Superstar to win the Battle Royal. In all fairness, who did it get down to? I suppose it could have been Wheeler Yuta. Live, is it next week? We've got Road Rager. Special show next week, Road Rager. We've got the Plaintiffs versus Wardlow. We've got an All-Atlantic Championship qualifying match. Coming up next, we've got Kyle O'Reilly against Jon Moxley. Ospreay is going to wrestle later tonight, says Jeremy. Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly. Excalibur turning into a rap god again. I caught none of that, says Zoom Station. I can't even keep track of what matches on the show. I'm lost. Excalibur needs to slow down. Andrade was in a Triple A match much longer than he was in WWE. Oh, was in Triple A much longer than he was in WWE. People need to stop calling everyone that shows up for WWE for a moment ex-WWE, says Corvids. Blazed Radio said it's time for a really fast Excalibur match preview. Comment on the Black Adam trailer. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it. You might be seeing that, but I'm watching it on Fight, so all I get is a graphic. If you are an AEW fan, Tony Khan, TV exec, you are rooting for an NBA final blowout. Boston has a double-digit lead at the start of the second quarter. How long before Mox takes the match outside the ring? 20 seconds, says Brett. Maybe, bud. Maybe. Yeah, I would imagine he will look to do it quite quickly. Kyle, hello. Shout out to you, bud. Hope you are well. Am I the only one that thinks this has been like a weird show? I feel like it's been a weird show. I mean, maybe it's because we've not had like any, of course, no CM Punk. We've not had MJF. We haven't seen Danielson. There's no Britt Baker. We haven't seen Sammy Guevara. We haven't seen Chris Jericho. I feel like there's a lot of big names that we haven't seen this week so far. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe... And, like, what we have had is we had the Battle Royal, which was won by Kyle O'Reilly, which I really didn't expect that. So I thought that was weird. Then we got Ospreay, and I thought his presentation was a little strange. And it was all a little quick. But it was a really cool moment. I mean, when the United Empire's music played, I really expected like Great O'Khan to come out and Jeff Cobb because they were on the show the other week. I didn't expect Ospreay to come out, so that was, I mean, it was really cool. And so we had that weird little match between Marina Shafir and Thunder Rosa just as well. It's like, I don't know, it's just been this. It's going to be really hard to score this one, I think. It's just weird. I just find it to be a really strange Dynamite this week. Here's Kyle O'Reilly then, winner of that Battle Royal earlier. Jade Cargill is going to be bold like Jada Pinkett if she don't roll back that Debbie Combs peroxide, said Zoom Station. What is the main event? It is going to be Kyle O'Reilly against Jon Moxley. Alex said if there's no MJF, then there was nothing worth watching. So 3.8. No big names, but the show has been great, says James. Jericho versus Ortiz. Hair versus hair for Roadblock next week. It's a Bizarro week. Raw was terrific with new stuff. Dynamite seems a bit thrown together, says Brent. Cobb and O'Khan are in Japan for Dominion. Is Ospreay not needed for Dominion? I'm surprised that Ospreay managed to get out of that. Mystic says, you've not watched 80% of the show. Wow. I missed 80% of the show. That's an achievement. You didn't watch any of the matches. The show was very good. Well, I'd have to disagree that I've not watched 80% of the show, considering all I've been doing is watching the show. And also, I don't remember saying that the show was bad. I said it was weird. So that was strangely defensive. Very quick, wasn't it? I always find when people get that defensive very quickly, then it probably does mean that the show, dare I say, has been a bit questionable. If someone's like, no, actually, if you'd been paying more attention, it's been really good, actually. I'm like, well, your attitude suggests otherwise. I certainly don't think the production of the Battle Royal was very good. I think the production of the Battle Royal was very poor. I also think they didn't make Ospreay look like a big star. And I also thought that Marina Shafir against Thunder Rosa was a bit rubbish. So if you want me to criticise it, I can. But overall, I don't think the show... I wouldn't say this has been a disaster show or like a really bad show or anything like that. Equally, I don't think it's been a good show. I'm going to stick with it's been a weird show. It's been a weird show. I do think the Finlay match was good, though, against Hangman. I'll give him props for that. And the Ospreay surprise, I thought, was very good. So I'll give him props for that as well. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's certainly not a bad show. Moxley's come down and is over in the corner. Kyle O'Reilly is edging over towards him. Moxley taking off his Blackpool Combat Club top. How long have we got? We've got 14 minutes for our main event. We've got Moxley against Kyle O'Reilly with William Regal on commentary. crowd have not been their usual boisterous self. They've not been going bananas. They've been quite quiet throughout the show. I mean, what I would say is they normally get these red hot crowds, and you're like, man, how do they get the crowd so worked up? Like, how do they get the crowd so boisterous? And to be honest, I'm surprised that they don't fall below that standard on a more regular basis. I'm surprised that the crowd aren't like a bit flatter on a more regular basis. Crowd getting into this one with chanting for Moxley. And Kyle O'Reilly grabbing the leg of Moxley. Lewis said, definitely weird Dynamite tonight. Just getting to watch the show makes it a terrific show for me, says El Sean. I personally would have preferred Darby Allin against Moxley, says James. I would have gone for that. I personally would have gone Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston is, if you think about when he was in that Anarchy in the Arena match and he was coming down with that gasoline canister and like people are losing their minds over him. He is so popular right now. I feel like with Eddie Kingston, why don't you just strike whilst the iron's hot? I feel like the iron is hot on Eddie Kingston right now, and it's been hot for quite a long time. It's not just like, these past months. He's been like fairly consistently over. So I sort of feel like Eddie Kingston, I could see the crowd really getting behind him. And Moxley against Kingston, this would have been a war for the main event. I don't know. The Kyle O'Reilly thing is a strange person to win. Unless they've got plans to put the title on Kyle O'Reilly. I don't know. Regal will forever be a legend for how he did against Goldberg, says Knowledge Untamed. I haven't had a chance to listen to his podcast yet, but he's got a podcast that's out now. So he's had a couple of episodes. So I'm going to definitely see if I can check out some of those later tonight. Moxley coming over, forearm strikes, low kicks coming in by Kyle O'Reilly. Forearm coming in by Moxley. We want Enzo, says Alex. Eddie against Mox would have been awesome as well. They gave us the worst match possible, says Zoom Station. Headbutt by Moxley, and Kyle O'Reilly goes back against the ropes. Low kicks coming in by Kyle as Moxley goes back. Knee strike coming in, kick coming into Moxley in the corner. Kyle O'Reilly hard into the corner. Another collision there by Moxley. Moxley in control. There's a bit of blood actually on the nose of Moxley. Forearm strike. Kyle O'Reilly on the outside trying to grab a hold of the leg. Dragon screw by Kyle O'Reilly. O'Reilly is going up top. Moxley is caught on the rope, is he? How come Moxley couldn't free himself there? Why couldn't, was it a dead leg or something? Moxley had his leg over the middle rope and just tucked underneath the bottom rope. You would think it would be relatively easy to free yourself from that, but Moxley was really struggling. I mean, of course he could free himself, but I'm just trying to think in kayfabe why he couldn't. I'm guessing maybe he was selling a bit of a dead leg. Moxley grabbing Kyle O'Reilly. on the outside of the ring. Grabs him by the leg. Chop. Kyle O'Reilly goes down. Another chop as Kyle is seated in the corner. Those are bad strikes. Look at those shots. That's bad. Them shots looked awful. Drop kick by Kyle O'Reilly to Moxley. Moxley has just said to the referee, he's called the referee over. He's told Kyle to get back in. I don't know what's happening. Is Moxley's hand like, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. Moxley just said to the ref, come here, ref. The ref came over. He said something to the ref. The ref then said something to Kyle, and both the ref and Kyle got back into the ring. It looked like Kyle was about to attack Moxley. It looked like Kyle was about to do something, but the ref said something to Kyle, and they both went into the ring. I don't know what that was. Clearly the message was, you know, tell him to get into the ring. We are back in the ring. Moxley is holding onto his leg. Forearm strike by Kyle. Slamming Moxley's leg on the edge of the ring. Looks like Moxley might have a leg injury. Something seems really off with this match. Really off. Like, the strikes... One thing you get from Moxley is you get, like, he lays it in. It's legit. Same with Kyle. These are two guys that lay it in. These are two guys that, you know, there's no half measures with Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly. That's what I really respect about him is... Say what you want about Moxley and his death matches and whatever, but he goes for it. He lays it in. His strikes look stiff. This all looks so laboured. It looks laboured. It doesn't look like it's got much behind it. Even when he was, like, slamming his leg on the edge there, it didn't look like that was even strong enough to do any damage. The strikes on the outside were, like, just like, I'd rather be somewhere else. Just that kind of a vibe. This whole match has just felt really... It's just like the show, just weird. Both guys are down. In the ring. We got 6 minutes to go. Both getting back up. Forearm strike by Kyle. Forearm strike by Moxley. Low kick. That was nice by Moxley. Kicks coming in. The kicks are looking good. Forearm strike by Kyle. Another kick. Headbutt. Against the ropes goes Moxley. Big boot by Kyle O'Reilly. They both boot each other and they both go down. Both fighters are down at the moment. Crowd applaud him. Kyle working on the arm of Moxley, but sleeper hold by Jon Moxley. That's nice. I like that. A backhammer choke. O'Reilly gets to the ropes and he has to bite the ropes in order to break it. Moxley kicks the ropes. Ah, that's nice. That's nice. I like that lariat. Kind of nearly took his head off. That was good. Elbows coming into the side of the heads. Oof. That was a nice spot. Yeah, the rope spot was a nice spot. Rope spot was nice. The lariat spot was good as well. Kicks coming into the back by O'Reilly. 4 minutes to go. Elbows coming into the side of the head again. William Regal said, "This is the kind of competition that makes me proud to be in pro wrestling." Knees coming in by Moxley. Goes against the ropes. Knee to the midsection. Moxley goes down. Kick coming in and both guys are down. Prayers for Moxley being hurt, for Tony Khan needs more hurting out for months. O'Reilly coming over. Cut up by Moxley. Moxley going over to the fans. Nice counter there by Kyle O'Reilly. He's got a triangle applied. Triangle in the middle of the ring by Kyle O'Reilly. He's trying to grab a hold of the leg, and he does. Kicks coming in by Moxley. I like some of these holds. This is nice. Moxley with big strike as Kyle O'Reilly goes down. This match has been quite good since they went back into the ring from the outside. 1, 2. No, just a 2. Not enough time now for MJF to show up, says Clayton. I was just wondering, what does AEW look like? Why does it look like they're wrestling in slow motion? Not everyone does. You know, Young Bucks and Lucha Bros are so smooth, they do their spots looking like they're on fast forward, in all fairness to them. So, not everyone looks like they're in slow mode. This one, there's been some nice moments in this match, but I don't know, something seemed a bit off at the start of it. These two, like, I don't know if like they're carrying some injuries or some knocks, or if it just took them a bit of a time to get going or something. But the end of this match has been much, much better than the beginning. As we are getting towards the conclusion, they both throw in big strikes to each other. Kyle O'Reilly goes down to his knees. Crowd appreciating these shots. Sleeper hold being applied by Moxley. This is awesome chant from the crowds. They've managed to build this really well since getting in from outside the ring. Against the ropes goes Moxley. Knee strike by Moxley. Kyle O'Reilly on his knees, getting back up to his feet. Moxley going to look to put him away. That should do it. 1, 2, 3, and Moxley gets the win. Knee to the face, and Moxley gets the victory. Moxley, he's got to go to Judgment Day. He's got to go to Forbidden Door before he becomes the interim champ, and he'll be facing either Tanahashi or Goto. Guessing it'll be Tanahashi, so I'm guessing it's going to be Tanahashi against Moxley. Winner will be the AEW champion. Everyone knew Moxley would win. It was predictable. It might not have started well, but it got where it needed to, and it ended up being good. Right. What do you score, AEW Dynamite? 8 to 10. 7 to 7, 7, 5. 6, 7, 5. 575 or below. There we go. We'll put in scores. Get your scores in. Not long off the phone. My mom should be home in some days. That's good. That's good. Right, the coverage has come to an end. So Moxley victorious. Nothing afterwards. No MJF on this show, which I think was the right thing. Because obviously, you know, they've removed him from... They've removed his merch. They've removed him from the active roster and all that kind of stuff. So I think to have him on this show... would have maybe undone the story they're trying to get across. So I think they focused on the AEW title. They might even be able to get through next week as well without him, because next week is that Road Rager thing. So, like, the card's pretty stacked for next week. So they should be able to get through next week without him as well. So I don't actually know when we're going to see him. I don't know when he'll return. But no MJF on this one. To be honest, it wasn't a packed show. It didn't seem to flow. Brian said 5.5. Shaquem says 6.25. 7 on the dot for me. I'm going to be honest. I'm going with a 6. I'm going with a 6. I was tempted to go like maybe 6.25. I think everything I've said is what I stand by. I think that Kyle O'Reilly was a weird choice to win the Battle Royal. I wouldn't say a terrible choice, but a weird choice. And I thought the production of the Battle Royal was a bit off in places. You're constantly trying to see who's coming down. You're constantly trying to see who's being eliminated. It's messy in places. I'll keep saying it till I'm blue in the face as well. There's so many times when you watch on Fight where the action just dies. And during that Battle Royal, the action just died like a few times. But it's where you lot go to commercial. So when you're watching, you don't actually know if what you're watching is being broadcast in America or not. Like, they don't necessarily like, or certainly I don't hear them saying, like, we're going to commercial now or anything. I just hear them going, welcome back. And it's normally after 2-3 minutes of no activity in the ring. So just any momentum that's been built up just completely goes away as well during matches. I really do. I would much rather that they just cut to a black screen. When you go to commercial break, I don't want to see what isn't being broadcast, because it really ruins matches. That was my criticism when it was like Hangman against Bryan Danielson, was that, you know, the matches had great momentum, but if you watch on Fight TV, nothing happens for 2-3 minutes, and it completely just takes you out the match. Whereas, like, in America, you go to commercial, you come back, and it's like, welcome back, and then, like, you know, it carries on. So there was a little bit of that in the Battle Royal as well. So, yeah, a few little production issues and everything. I think, I just think it was a weird show. I just think there was a bit of a lack of star power, but I agree that's not a problem if the rest of the show is going to be tight and they're going to knock it out the park. And I just, you know, things like Marina Shafir. First of all, I didn't know that David Finlay was in there, and the crowd didn't seem to care. The crowd were really quiet. They weren't really invested. The match quality was good, though. I'll give it credit. It was a good match, but didn't come across like anything of significance. And Hangman winning, which wasn't the biggest of surprises. We did get that All Atlantic reveal, so, you know, that's a talking point. The fact we've got a new championship. Moxley winning the main event, I don't think was the biggest of surprises. Which kind of means that the Battle Royal earlier was a bit redundant after all of that. So we watched that Battle Royal, which ate up half an hour. And then the winner of that Battle Royal obviously just ended up losing to Moxley later in the same show. So it means that the Battle Royal we watched earlier was just a bit of a waste of time, really. I don't know. It was just bits like that. I just couldn't find like loads on this show that I was like crazy about. I feel like there's been way better Dynamites than this. Way better Dynamites. And maybe that's next week, in all fairness, because next week it's a pretty good-looking card. That Road Rager card looks quite tasty. So high hopes that next week we can like get back on track, and we'll see. Obviously, we've got that ladder match, that triple threat ladder match with Young Bucks and everything. And I do think that this could be the start of, like, you know, the Christian tease. I'd really like it if next week Jungle Boy Luchasaurus actually say, I wish you hadn't have booked us into this. I wish they'd, like, you know, say, I do need to go back actually and just see. Someone said that Jungle Boy does give a bit of a look, which I'll have to go back and have a look at that. I hope they did that, because I think that's a really good way of getting into that story. So. And Ospreay was great, wasn't he? Ospreay coming out was really, really good. That was a great moment. But again, I didn't see like any fans freaking out. I certainly couldn't see him freaking out in the background. But that's not saying they weren't. I'm just saying that I couldn't see them. And I wish we had highlighted that more. And I wish we had just let it breathe a little bit more as well. It really felt like he comes out and he's there, and then boom, they're attacking in the ring. And, you know, we're cutting then to what's happening in the ring. I wish we'd focused on Ospreay a little bit more and just had a chance to put him over a little bit more and just talk about who this guy is, because it's a big deal. I mean, we did get Tanahashi the other week, but really outside of Tanahashi, Ospreay's got to be the biggest star we've had on Dynamite, like from New Japan. So we've had Tanahashi and now we've had Ospreay, and I am interested to see where that goes. They obviously attacked FTR, so very interested to see where that goes. Life for Daz says, sending some good vibes. Shout out to you, dudes. Sending them right back. Brenton said, listen to Cornette's In the News. He and his co-host read wrestling newspaper pieces and go back to the 1880s, talking about wrestling being a work. It's really great stuff. I will have to check that one out. I do tend to listen to his podcast, but I don't catch it every week. And there's certainly plenty in the past that I've missed. But I did, do you know, it's funny, we was talking about it the other day. He spoke a lot about the Fall Guys, and I bought that book, and that goes back to, you know, kind of how wrestling started, and goes back, well, pro wrestling, and goes back to Hackenschmidt, Gotch, Jenkins, and people of those, you know, Ed Strangler Lewis, people that were kind of fighting for that world title around the start of the 1900s and everything. It kind of goes through to the 1930s. So I have read that. I can't say I remember it all now, but I certainly got a lot out of that book. So if you get a chance to pick that book up, if that is an era that you're interested in, it is fantastic. But I will check that omnibus thing out, because I would be really interested to hear that. I mean, there's probably a lot of stuff in that I won't have heard, so I will check that out. Have you ever thought about wearing wireless earphones to listen to the show without copyright, says Mason? Yeah, the only problem with that is that then if I'm listening to that, I feel like I'm going to be shouting to you guys. And, you know, the kind of things that I might be missing are, I mean... maybe there's some important stuff on commentary. Promos I tend to be able to hear and pick up on. So that's not so much of a problem. But I don't know, if I'm wearing headphones, I just see that as a bit of a barrier. It's really weird because, like, obviously none of you are in the room with me. But it's another barrier, really, because I feel like I'm then really focused on what's happening there. Whereas here, I can hear pretty much what I need to hear. There's definitely going to be the odd thing that gets past me, of course. But by and large, I can hear what I need to hear. But, yeah, I can't say it's been a problem. Are you ready for Lacey Evans to return? Absolutely. Born ready. Born ready. Brenton said, did you buy the Annotated edition? I did, yes. The original book has got a lot of lies. Yeah, that's true. I did buy that one, yes. It's brilliant as well. They were talking about how the guy that writes it is like really in with Toots Mont and how he like really puts over Toots Mont, and he kind of runs down some people that maybe didn't deserve it, and there's some things that are misremembered that we now know went a different way. And the annotations are really interesting. No, it's important. Someone puts in the chat. That's true. Right, we're almost at 200 votes. Let's see what people thought. We need just, one more vote? One more vote, and then we'll wrap this up. And there we go. Boom. What's your favourite Seth Cody match? Probably the... Oh, it's really hard, actually. I think it's really hard to put all three of them in order. I think it's really difficult. Right, 775 got 34%, 6 to 675 got 25%, 8 to 10, 24%, 575 or below 14%. So, one that kind of divided opinion a bit. We've got 7 to 775, 34%. That won by 9%. 6 to 675 got 25%. I'd be in that 6 to 675. As I said, I might be tempted to go up to 6.25 rather than go down. But yeah, I can understand. I think this is I stand by what I said. I think this is a really weird show. I can understand those people that really thought this was an off show. The pacing's not quite right, or the people that won, like Kyle O'Reilly, and then going into the final that was a bit predictable, and like the Thunder Rosa Marina Shafir match being a little bit off, and David Finlay not being like known to the crowd, and Ospreay maybe not getting enough time to breathe, or I can totally understand people that are saying that and score it low. Equally, I can understand people that are really into AEW, really into New Japan, going, oh my God, we got David Finlay, we got a new championship, we got what turned out to be a good main event in the end between Kyle O'Reilly and Moxley, we got a good Finlay against Hangman match, we got new belts, we got the Ospreay, like, I can see both ends of the spectrum. I can totally understand why there's people that are like, ugh, and there's people that are like, oh my God. Like, I get it. And for me, it's a weird show that I'm sort of falling in the middle. I'm sort of like, I can see that, but I can see that as well. So I kind of feel like 6 is about where I am on this one, yeah. 6 to 6.25. And as we said, we'll see it. We'll see what we get next week. How long would you give it before an MJF appearance, says Wrestle with Andy? To be honest, I think they might get past Forbidden Door, or he might come back at Forbidden Door. My guess, and it's nothing but a guess, is that they're doing this storyline and they're just going to give him a bit of a time off, bit of a break. I don't know if he's had much of a break over the past 3 years. So it might be that now the Wardlow story's done, he's having a bit of a break. And I don't know if he's going to come back and interfere in matches. I don't know if he's going to come back and claim that he's got better terms now. I don't know like how it's going to play out. But I would imagine that they're going to potentially not look to use him for Forbidden Door. In all fairness, I don't think they really need to use him for Forbidden Door, because MJF is really good in feuds where he can cut promos against people. And against people in New Japan, you're not really going to get much of an opportunity to do that. So I don't think this pay-per-view needs MJF. I think that, we're going to crown a new interim champion. We're going to have Hangman going up against Okada potentially as well. Looks like we're going to be getting Ospreay and United Empire against maybe FTR. So there's clearly matches that are falling into place. I think we can get through this show without MJF, and then once we get past it, then it'll be interesting to see where we go from there. So maybe we don't see him for a few weeks, and we get Forbidden Door out the way, and then he returns. Tony Khan needs a clap on, clap off clapper. Tomorrow is a day off for you or not? No, there's no such thing as a day off. Thursdays I don't tend to stream, but I always have to do research, so I literally spend my day just researching. So tomorrow I'll be watching fights and everything. So we've got a big UFC show this weekend, so yeah, I've got that. Right, we're done anyway. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show, got out of it what you got out of it. And we will be back on Friday for WWE SmackDown. Bye for now.